Coming from a galaxy near you, this is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
What's up, Doug?
What's going on, man? Yeah.
It's pretty chaotic for me before this shit started, but I am with a beer today. I'm with Trace, some kind of IPA. Mm-hmm. So, at this point, the details of the IPA, I don't really care. If you want to go through them, that's cool. Citra, Mosaic, whatever. I'm exhausted, Doug. I'm exhausted.
Well, I'm glad you're here, man.
Well, it's not really even about just what happened, but, exhausted, kind of exhausted with IPAs. You know what I mean? There's so many different kinds. Each brewery does 400 of them. I love them all, and I'm just getting to be too old and tired of these details. I used to love it. Now I'm just like, whatever, just give me an IPA.
Well, as a side note to that, our former guest, Rachel Benkowski, actually did something on TikTok where she said she was tired of hazy IPAs and was challenging brewers to make an English pale ale, which is not a style you see quite a bit. So that was pretty interesting that she said that. But.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. It's called IPA fatigue.
Yep.
How about that?
Yep. So since we got Barrel and Flow next week, I decided to use a Barrel and Flow glass. So what do you think of that IPA? I think it's pretty good, man. Yeah, I'm not an IPA person.
Yeah. I'm just not going to get into like what hops and I think it is, and I'm just showing it there.
I still love the fucking can art though. That's just lovely. Yes, sir. And we'll be seeing them Thursday.
It's like it puts you in a trance.
Ooh.
Moving castle. All right, 7%. My can's a little beat up, but UPS will do that for you.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, look, fans of the shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Barrel and Flow, and also it was the first Barrel and Flow shirt that I saw in the closet when I got my shirt on, literally 5 minutes before this, because first of all, our guest is fabulous, but our guest is so. How about this, y'all? Some of y'all have been on the stream before. Some of y'all know how this format works. We try to do a little bit, pre-production to figure out who our guest is. Sometimes we don't know. We never met them. Sometimes we met them. Sometimes we do a million things. This week, our guest, Doug, I don't know how this lady pulls all this off. Because I was like, Doug, give me an updated bio. So I get the bio, and the bio's like this. And the bio's like, it's literally like project after project after like dope project. It's like Scooby-Doo, Teen Titans, Powerpuff Girls. Like it's like any kind of name you need a name for in comics. Like, and I was like, okay, this is a bit overwhelming, though. Can you ask her like what she's doing like right now?
Yeah.
Because if I was going to display all those things and finding like appropriate graphics for them, and I was just like, wow, like it's just really, really impressive. And I don't know, Doug, this is another reason why, the discourse, we're going to talk a little politics tonight, y'all. Usually we don't ish. I mean, we do, but we don't like have it tonight. Yeah, because our guest is really into it. But like, just let me say something real quick though. Like, this is
decision paralysis of what to talk about.
No. I know what I want to say. It's just heavy because it's like all this misogyny talk behind our hopefully future next president is just exhausting. And I've literally heard some people say that like women can't work like men do. I've heard this stuff this week. And I'm just is this where we're at? And that's never been true. Ever. What are you talking about? Like, I so then you have an accomplished woman, a hardworking woman who's in so many projects, doing so many things. It was just like Amanda's, whoever booked this and how y'all worked this out. It was just perfect timing. Of course, y'all didn't know about Kamala Harris. Of course, no one did. But I mean, we knew, but we didn't know that Joe was going to step aside. She was going to rise up. It was going to be this big thing, and now all the misogyny people are coming out. All the racist people are coming out. So, like, I don't know. I'm just saying, I like the timing of this interview. I love our guest because, again, she's hardworking, wonderful female in the business. It's just great, and it's just this is who we could be, y'all, if we strive to be better. Is a wonderful society where everybody's working and everybody's kicking ass. And Amanda's kicking ass, man. This is great. I'm having a good time. I don't know if we have any. I don't know if you want to introduce her. I don't have any past guest news. Actually, y'all need to check out Angie's stream on Monday. I had her in the outro, but my outro is not gonna. I couldn't download it for some reason. I don't know. Adobe was anyway. I'm trying to release that bad energy now.
Yeah, let's go, man. We got good beer. We got a great guest coming on.
No. It's just like, but when shit happens to you like 10 minutes before, and I'm like, oh, I'll just get my outro out like I usually do, and then Doug's like, yo, we're waiting for you, and I'm like, Doug, you're always waiting for me. This is nothing new. This literally happens 56 times a year. Doug's in there, and I'm like nowhere to be found for like a minute until we go live, y'all. That's what happens in the back, It's called, Doug, technically, y'all, since we're all talking about black people and everything, might as well. It's called CP time, y'all. It's called colored people time. We show up late, and when we want to,
late.
And when we want to, basically. So that's me, and on the stream. And Doug's the studious one who's in there to talk to the guests and to be welcoming. And I'm here scrambling, doing dumb shit. And
maybe this is why I'm like, Greg, why don't you produce? And I will just do all the fun stuff, and I don't have to deal with all that stress.
Look all pretty to the guests, and Greg looks like a chaotic mess, and Greg is a chaotic mess, so it works. But right. So without further ado, Doug, I would like for you to say some nice words about our guest, because you're the one who booked her. You're the one who made the initial thought. She's the one that embraced you and embraced us. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I think she's been on twice, so it's not like we're introducing somebody new. I mean, Amanda Deibert is just, like you said, super hard worker. Just has so many things going on. Like, I'm not sure. She must have a fantastic calendar set up to keep everything in line. So we got to ask her.
She's got a wife and a kid, and
it's like a lot
like
going
she's
on.
Getting on me,
and she just got back from San Diego. Yeah, she just got back from San Diego Comic-Con, so we'll have to talk about that and how fun and all that crazy stuff. So Amanda's just great, and I think she's like the James Brown of comic books, like the hardest working woman in comic books.
Oh, okay. I thought she's gonna bust some moves like James Brown.
Hey, maybe we might be in for a real treat.
Yeah. All right, Doug. You do the honors, because we step on each other when we do this.
Welcome, Amanda.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we got to start off with what's in your glass before we go on all the tangents.
All right, well, I'm being a stereotypical Californian with a California Cabernet here, because it's still, as you can see, light outside in front of my pool. I couldn't be more LA right now.
Excellent. Someone from California. So you have voted for a presumptive nominee, right? I presume.
I certainly have.
Lucky you.
She was our DA and our senator, and big fan for a long time.
Yeah, she's not accomplished though. Not accomplished. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave that. We'll leave that for later. So what's going on, Amanda? Doug, you go first, man. You usually it's your guest, but yeah.
So tell us what's going on there, Amanda. You got a lot of plate spinning. So let's
plate. I keep the plate spinning, because the thing is, when write comic books and I write for television, and my wife is a comic book illustrator. So we're both freelance all the time. And the thing with freelance is things inevitably get canceled. They get pushed, they get delays. You get all excited about something and then it moves months later. So the thing that I've learned in my years of experience is always have way more irons in the fire than I think I will need, because things are going to juggle, and usually I can manage them. So I always kind of do have a lot going on, but it's purposeful. It's to keep a roof over my head.
That's helpful.
Mm-hmm. It's very motivating. Like, my child needs food every day. It's this whole thing. And so I try to keep that going.
Yeah. Before go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
No. I was just to say this is a really good. I think are underrated by the general public, and I know what JHG means here. Like, we just consume a lot of like comics and a lot of comic things, and like we just don't kind of look beyond it. We're just like take it for the surface level. What were you gonna say, Doug? Or if Amanda wanted to respond to that comment.
My question would be, and we can have Amanda tie in both, however she wants to. I said, how do you manage all that? Like, do you have a calendar set up? Like, is it so, like because my calendar thing is not a phone calendar. I have a calendar on my fridge that I just write shit on to know when, what. But if I did that with your stuff, I don't know that I'd be able to do that. How do you
work-life balance? Yeah, the work-life balance lesson coming right now.
It's wild, but I really do. I have like an online calendar, and then I also have a physical planner that I write things in, and I kind of do both. And I have to pretty much start my day looking over my day and my week, because it is, I've got all that. I'm also the PTA president of my daughter's elementary school and a Girl Scout troop leader, because I didn't have enough that I wanted to do. So I juggle a lot of things, but I get up early. I look at what I have to do. I love a to-do list. And then I also just try to keep things chill. Anything that's not an emergency, anything that's not you have to get it done right now, I just try not to panic about. And it's also anything that I can get done in a minute or two, I do that as quickly as I can, because it's one of those things. I will either answer your email the second you've emailed me, or it might go into the abyss and be a really long time before I get back to you. And there's not a lot of in between there, because it's, it is, I do sometimes miss things. I do absolutely forget about things, mess up things, double book myself. I mean, it happens. It really does. Last night I was doing, Kat and I were doing a workshop at the local public library with teenagers, teaching them how to draw and write comics. It was really cool. The kids were really excited. They were really talented. They were really awesome. While I was at Comic-Con, a friend of mine saw the flyer for it and was like, "Oh, cool. My sons are coming to this, but also, don't we have a social gathering with a bunch of our friends that same night that you said you were going to be at?" And I was like, "Oh, right. Yeah. So I will be with your sons instead. Sorry about that." So it does happen.
Happen to the best of us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Some of us are not quite as busy as you, so it's like it happens probably less frequently just for that reason. But yeah. Greg, you got a follow up there?
Wow. No. So one of the things that's keeping you occupied are these girls.
Yes.
Now, I wasn't even able to find a graphic, y'all, for this, because I don't even know if there's one exists out there. Amanda, tell us about the one, I think this is the biggest one that's on your plate now, or the one that you feel that's the one that we want to talk about the most, or?
I actually have a great story about this. And this is that my 9-year-old is absolutely Powerpuff Girl obsessed. Like, it was her birthday party theme back in January. It's what she wants us all to dress as for Halloween this year. She's watched every episode. She's read all the comics. Like, she is a super fan of Powerpuff. Like, it's her water bottle for school. It's like the whole thing. And a few months ago, she was coming home from school and she was talking to my wife, Kat, and I, and she was like, I've watched all the episodes. I've read all the books. I'm getting kind of sad because I don't have any more Powerpuff stories. She was like, can you and Mama make a Powerpuff Girls comic? And I was like, oh, honey, I'm really sorry. The thing is that like we don't own those characters. So in order for us to be able to make something, you know, the people that own the characters have to hire us to do it, you know, because it's not something that we invented. So basically I'm giving her like a crash course in IP, but 9-year-old appropriate. I'm like, I'm not allowed to just make bootleg Powerpuff Girls stuff or I'll end my career. And so will Mama, and that won't be good. And so I'm telling her all of this, and we get home, and Kat happens to see on Twitter that some new Powerpuff Girl comics are coming. And we're like, oh, great, Viv, now you're going to have stuff that you can read. And so we tell her, and I see that the editor working on it was my editor, Nate from Darkwing Duck. And so I just tweet at him, and I was like, oh, we have a Powerpuff-loving daughter that is going to be so excited about this. That's all I said. We take our daughter to her swim practice. While she's in the pool, I get an email from Nate, and he's like, would you and Kat like to make your daughter's dreams come true? We have all these one-off holiday specials. Do you want to team up on one of them and do it? And I was like, absolutely. So our kid gets out of the pool. This is an hour since I've explained to her that her dreams are impossible and that I don't have the IP. And then I say to her, so do you want us to do the Christmas special, the Halloween special, or the summer special? And she's like, Halloween, please. So anyway, Kat and I have a 28-page Powerpuff Girl Halloween special. It's called The Sparkling. It has a lot of horror film references in it, a lot of really fun stuff. I love the story. I love what Kat's doing in the art with the art. It's going to be really fun, really cool. Our daughter thinks all her dreams have come true, and she got to give us story notes and art notes and really help participate in the whole thing. So it's been really cool.
That's super cool. Your kid must be on cloud 9.
I'm like, how do I explain to her that this is not how life works?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Doug, that's an awesome parenting moment, a parenting win. And again, in the end, you're right, nice. Like, not all of us can pull that shit.
But now I'm spent. Like, what am I gonna do when she's a teenager? I got nothing.
And be like, remember that time I wanted you to do the Powerpuff? Why can't you do this too?
Right, right. She'll be like, why aren't you best friends with Taylor Swift or whatever? I'd be like, I don't know. I can't just.
Yeah, JHG, that's
that helps.
It's almost everything, really. Not everything, but but you also have to, be, there's a level of I just sent my son's today, Doug, I just sent my son something that Warren Buffett said. And he said that one of the things that has led him to be so successful is that right after college, I think he came home and he spent $100 on a public speaking conversation. And he said that communication that he learned there led him to be able to communicate in such a way that he can make all these deals and be like, get all those network things. Like, communication isn't really taught so strong in our schools at all. And, again, Amanda's probably amazing, communicator, and that leads to great networking, and that leads to success like this, if that makes sense. There's like a step thing. I don't think anybody tells you that, but so I sent it to my sons, and I'm like, yeah, because remember I was telling y'all about public speaking courses and taking a communication course. I was trying to tell my youngest to take a communication course, so he could like understand how people communicate. They're homeschool kids, so they're like a little naive, and they don't really have, they're socially good. I mean, they can make friends, they have friends and all that, but like that technical business, you know what I'm talking about, Amanda, and having that structure of like responding, and you obviously did good work with that, man. So he was like, hey, man, this is great. So it was just easy, that's just great. The whole story is wonderful.
Well, that's the thing. I think that a lot of people don't realize, especially, when you're early on in either of the industries that I work in, you're so hungry and you feel like every connection that you make is a potential that you don't want to waste. And sometimes that can lead us to maybe asking or expecting things a little too quickly, becoming a little too demanding. Like, The thing is here that I didn't ask. I really actually just congratulated this editor and said my kid was looking forward to reading it. And luckily, we had our years of history working together on other books and a long-standing relationship. So it's also really important to realize that, like, just because you met someone, they may come in really handy down the line. Like, they may end up being that person that opens a big door. But if you come in, nice to meet you, please open a big door for me, 9 times out of 10, that's gonna because nobody wants to feel used. So I feel like that's a really important part of it too, is like be a good communicator and also don't expect too much in the beginning.
Yeah, Doug and I know this because we've been asking people like you to come on our podcast for years, and Doug and I have these conversations about approaching different people, and we always have. Actually, next week we're going to do it. We usually have our like Brothers and Booze, like where we meet together and we just talk about it for a couple hours to just each other one-on-one because we don't live near each other. One of the things we talk about is like I don't like to make an ass the first time I see you. I'm really awkward about that because again I don't feel a lot of times and Doug and I have done it, don't get me wrong, like we've asked people, we don't know them, but there's a level of especially when we go to events like next week of like I meet you the first time, I'm not sure I feel comfortable asking you come in on my podcast, even though I really want you to come on my podcast. I really do. So there's a balance there, man, that where you have to, your zealousness has to meet, you know what I mean? And, there's been so many bad quote, Doug and I don't even consider ourselves influencers because we're probably not, but like, there's a level of being seen as one, Doug, whether we are or not. And, approaching people in that manner where you don't want to be obnoxious and want to be, presume that, man isn't cool enough, coming on a podcast. So you're correct. I mean, it's just everything. And I think we've been talking about networking, but that's what rung out to me and rung out to some people in the comments too. Is that, you had good dealings and you were just able to send that tweet. Because Doug wouldn't be able to send a tweet to like Stephen King and be like, hey, Stephen King. No.
That's not happening.
Whoa, can we collab?
He would have a good time. You guys are great.
Yeah, I'm a writer too, Doug would say, and he is. He's good. But like,
True.
It's not. I mean, not to be running up on Stephen King though without anything. But yeah,
that's some rare air. I don't. It is interesting, like having to do, like, not to get, but like when first time I asked Amanda to come on, and it was just like, hey, if this happens, great. I kind of look at it like this, I admire what Amanda does. I love what she talks about, our stance on things. Like we're all pretty aligned on that. And, I try to book a lot of people that don't look like me on the show because I want to amplify voices that are BIPOC, AAPI, female, but female sounds a little freaking boomer-esque. I apologize for that. But you know what I mean? Just having women on to talk about their experiences, because there's a fucking 5,000 podcasts that are my guys like me that have that perspective, but we need to amplify voices that don't look like me. So, it's a little bit of a long-winded answer to get around and be like, I'm glad you joined us.
I love joining you guys. I mean, like you said, this is my third time here because I enjoy this podcast. I enjoy hanging out with you guys.
Well, we do appreciate you coming on and being able to talk about all the myriad of things you've been participating in. There was also one we didn't talk about that I was like, wait, there's one other thing she's doing that I think is super interesting. And I had to pull up the email because I couldn't remember what it was. And it was the John Carpenter's Tales of HalloweenNight. Can you talk about that bit? Like,
absolutely. So this is volume 10. This is a yearly anthology. I've been involved since volume 2. Kat's been involved since volume 1. It's Storm King Comics, which is run by Sandy King Carpenter, who is John Carpenter's wife and also producer of many of his films and worked on many films that you know and love. She is incredible. And so John Carpenter's Tales for HalloweenNight is an anthology that we do every year where it's short stories, all short horror stories. John always does one. Kat and I team up on one. Sandy does one. A lot of other like really great horror writers, horror film writers, horror comic writers do, and illustrators do, these one-off horror stories. And then if you're local to LA, we always do a big signing at Golden Apple Comics in October. And there's always a line down the block because it's John Carpenter. And it's a really good time. We sign the comics. And I also, Kat and I have another graphic novel with them that's called Death Mask. That's also a horror thriller situation that we're working on volume 2 of right now. It came out last year, and volume 2 should come out probably next year sometime, I would assume. So, yeah.
How is it working with John Carpenter, though? Like, the idea of working, that guy's a freaking legend in horror, and you're just like, yeah, I'm doing these 2 things with John Carpenter.
I love John so much. He's wonderful. He's lovely, and he's fun. And actually, the other thing that I did with him, which was pretty amazing, so he just did, there was John Carpenter's Suburban Screams on Peacock, which was his first, so he and Sandy executive produced it, but then it was his first time coming back to direct in many years. And the episode that he directed was written by me, which was really cool. So that was a fun thing to get to do and work on him with. And there's a phallic photo in that episode. This guy is harassing a woman, and he sends a picture, and John has given me a lot of hell about writing that and making him direct it. So that was a good time. So anyway, he is wonderful. Sandy is incredible. We love them a lot, and they're wonderful to work with.
Thanks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Doug, if y'all don't mind, let's clutch up on some of the comments before we get behind. Amanda's the bomb has my respect. All right, Orla Free. So as a comic lover, Amanda gave a connection for me and my son, as he was a huge Teen Titans fan. I'm sure you hear good stories like that. You should hear good stories about that all the time, because I think your reach goes further than sometimes you feel, right, Amanda? Is that a good?
Yes. And so that's the thing. It's like, writing is such an isolated thing most of the time, right? I'm sitting at my dining room table and with my laptop, and that's, while my daughter's at school. That's usually how my workday goes. It's me by myself with maybe some music playing, and that's it. So, it's like, while I know intellectually that the things I write go out into the world, it's actually kind of rare to get to hear how it hits people or what they think of it. And so that's why, hearing or seeing comments like that is great, or meeting people at conventions is great, because it is actually it's a very one-way communication most of the time.
Excellent. Yeah, I figured that much. So living in a small town Canada, things like that don't just happen. Big city things. I think he was talking about, your connection with the, the Powerpuff Girls and all that. And then his wife FaceTimed him. So he'll be back. So I don't know. He said he was Doug, you started this one. I'm a self-employed person, but working in wood and construction, but I have to deal with the same things, much different medium. Mm-hmm. Plus, he's no Ty Pennington. Yeah,
that's the part that made me laugh. No Ty Pennington.
Yo, Doug, you got any space in that beard of yours? I'm in need of a warm place to live. Wait, who's Captain Birdseye, and is he our new Zach, or what's going on with this guy?
I don't know who that is. Also, when he said that, it reminds me of this bus driver in South Park who had the bird living in her hair. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Thanks. I do not, because my wife would be very offended if someone else tried to park their way in my beard. Not to get too graphic there, but sorry.
Walked away for family stuff, missed a lot. Yeah, things go fast here with Amanda, I'm telling you.
And then I'm like, that is the secret to the universe.
Yes.
Too bad you walked away.
Mm-hmm. Storm Comics, are you familiar with them, Amanda?
Storm King Comics. So yes, that's the one. That's the Tales for Halloween Night, and that's the comic book company that does it for.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Right. So yeah, we're caught up. So this is the next one I think I want to talk about here. What's going on with this one, Amanda?
So the special thing about my Rocket and Groot comics, so I did one previously that came out last year that was Rocket and Groot, The Hunt for Star-Lord. And then this one's coming out this fall, Rocket and Groot, Tales of Terror. And the cool thing about these is that they're for Scholastic, so they're in the Scholastic Book Fair, which made the little girl in me more excited than I think anything I've ever worked on before, because there's just nothing like seeing your book at the Scholastic Book Fair. I run the Scholastic Book Fair at my daughter's school, like as a volunteer in the PTA. And the first time I saw the Rocket and Groot Hunt for Star-Lord, I had not even gotten my comp copies yet. And I was unpacking the book fair to set it up for the school. And I opened a box and it was just sitting there. And I was like, oh, this is the most excited I've ever been.
Yeah, like, woo-hoo, rub the hands.
Who doesn't remember the Scholastic book sale was the best part of the year? It was the best time. It was just great. Like, that's just like, I don't know. I can't even explain it to our kids. I don't know. I just can't. It's probably different now, but I still love that it's going on. And you're right. It's just there's something iconic about that, if that makes sense. There really is, especially for old people like us.
Yes. But it's still pretty great. I mean, the kids still love it, and there's still all the weird, funky pens and erasers, and all that, like, all that stuff that you love to buy as a kid.
Yeah, and the goofy posters and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, there's still you guys. There's still Michael Jordan posters. They're still selling them.
That's awesome.
And like the random
dog. The posters,
there's always like a car and
like a lamp.
Yeah, and then like a kitten, and it's still all that same stuff.
Don't do that, Doug. I was the poster buyer, so
I was not shitting on it, because if you got any money, that was like your first foray into spending money any way you wanted. So it was like just whatever the fuck like tickled your fancy. Great. I have enough money to buy a book or erasers. I like racers.
Yes.
I'm like, that was where you got to see a lot of. We got to see a lot of people doing their very early nerddoms. Like, oh, I like pens. Like, that's a whole thing. Like, our friend Jeff Bogle had a whole account dedicated to pens for when he traveled. Like, just finding different things and different ways to write. So, yeah.
There you go. That's an old school one right there. You see that one, Doug?
Yeah, that's a good one. What's funny is they made. Go ahead. Sorry, Amanda.
No, I was saying that one's not him.
No. I didn't.
Oh. That's not Carpenter.
That was Wes Craven.
He was Halloween. A very, very similar time.
Yeah, that's in that same time frame.
Brothers and horror, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
don't be embarrassed. Everybody does that all the time. Don't be embarrassed. That is very normal. That happens a lot.
Shit happens.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Okay.
Still going strong, man. I'm telling you.
There was so regardless of the thing with the Scholastic Book Fair, there used to be a Penguin distribution house about 10 miles from where I live, and until they actually closed that and moved it to like Indiana or some shit, so they could be in the middle of the country to make shipping easier or whatever. But they used to do one time a year that you would come in and you pick up a box and you could stick as many books in, and it was $20.
Oh my God.
And that was just like, let's fucking go. And my wife and I coming out with 2 giant boxes of books. I miss those days, but that was there was no posters. That was just books, but I'm a book hoarder.
Oh man, that would have been my heaven. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I'm not sure I think they got bought out.
It's Penguin Random House now. So it's right. like a merge.
They merged, but Random House kind of bought them out and just kept the Penguin for name recognition, I think. But, yeah.
So the next one, Doug, we're not done yet. We got Hot Wheels.
Let's go.
I've never seen this before. Have you seen this one, Doug?
I have not. My kids are like, all of them except one is an adult, so they don't really watch. Unless it's anime, they don't watch cartoons.
Okay, but Doug, hold on, Amanda, hold on. So, Doug, you don't watch cartoons?
Yeah, I do. Like
Okay.
I like the Arcane one that's going to have another season coming out soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, God, who the heck was that? It was called Arcane. And I can't remember it was like based on a gaming thing. League of Legends, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah, so
yeah.
I like that one. I will forever be a SpongeBob nerd. I fucking love that cartoon. I
Okay.
could watch
Okay.
that
Oh yeah,
every
yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, I just didn't. I just had to push back a little bit on the insinuation that cartoons are just for kids. I just had to
No, I
a little
meant
bit.
that seems geared a little bit more. Maybe Amanda could be a little more specific, but it's geared a little bit towards a younger set of eyes to watch
It
it.
kind of
It
definitely looks
totally.
that
So
way.
this
For sure.
this one is a preschool show. So I wrote on the He-Man series on Netflix that was for kids, and then Mattel was gracious enough to then bring me into Hot Wheels, which this is a preschool. So this is for anybody that's got littles. This is gonna be like if you've got like a 4-year-old, this is gonna be their jam because it's kids in this universe where there's the orange tracks, which are different from the regular roads that the kids can drive on because, you got to be careful with that and making kids think they can drive on regular roads in their parents' cars. But it's really fun. It's really cute. It's like a racing camp situation with all the different Hot Wheels cars. So, sometimes there are dinosaurs or toilets or, hot dogs or, all the stuff because you've seen all the different Hot Wheels cars. So like any wild Hot Wheels car you've ever seen shows up in the show at some point. It's really fun.
So the orange tracks, which is what Hot Wheels tracks for orange, so that's pretty cool that they tied that in. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's a really cute show. It's fun.
So yeah, Daniel liked the. Daniel said the He-Man series was fun. He loved how fluid the animation was.
Thank you. Yeah. It's it was a funny time because Netflix did too. They did the He-Man series that was for like adults that was kind of nostalgic, and then
that was the Kevin Smith one, right?
That was the Kevin Smith one, which is not the one that I worked on. I worked on the one that was more like the reboot for kids now. Okay. And so they both were on at the same time, which was kind of an interesting. It was a lot of He-Man all the time.
So got the first episodes of Cape Crusader. Is that Amazon Prime, Daniel? Because I saw some Batman thing came across my thing, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to see that." I think it is. He'll answer.
I know Max owns a lot of the Batman properties. So
okay, yeah, that too. My kid is a Hot Wheels nerd, but Max ended up selling a whole bunch of their shit to Amazon. I don't know if you knew that, but anyway.
Right, yeah, they did.
We could literally talk about the streaming wars for like 6 hours. It's so wild.
I don't find it to be wars. It's just who's accumulating each other is basically the entire thing of streaming.
I know everybody's merging now. It's wild.
Well, there's kind of a war, Doug, about the content. Like,
not fair.
Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like paying for the content and trying to underhand the content. Doug, you really see it in the NFL, where the NFL is selling these certain games. And then you see them bidding up, and the whole thing with this TV and all that, or Direct TV and Amazon. It's just the streaming wars are fascinating to me. I find it fascinating. But yeah, of course, in American capitalism, there's going to be consolidation and big people eating big people. And
we're not supposed to have monopolies, but we definitely do. So,
well, we're not supposed to have socialism, but we do. But anyway, anywho, okay, Cape Crusader. My boys for and addicted to YT.
YouTube, I'm guessing.
Oh, YouTube. Yeah. Okay. YT is also what they use on TikTok, though. I don't know if you
called white people.
Right. Because they get flagged for saying
right,
that.
so that they don't get blocked for like hate speech or whatever that they say it is.
Right. Because TikTok is really they're sensitive. No, Doug, I don't want to hear this.
This Victor got to interview the person who does the voice of Sandy Cheeks.
Amazing.
That is fucking great.
We want you to do it now?
I'm not doing the voice. I can't do that voice. I can do Mr. Krabs a little bit. And I used to be able to do Perry the Platypus when my kids used to watch Phineas and Ferb, but I'm way out of practice on that one. So.
It's important to be able to do at least one of your kids' favorite character voices. You got to have one you can pull out.
And I could do Shaggy, but my kids never watched Scooby-Doo. So
Scooby-Doo.
hey,
Oil
Oiler
Freak.
Freak, I am a fellow
Yeah.
52-year-old person, man.
Yeah,
High five to you.
I'm getting there. I'll be there soon. Like, we're all hip, Oil Freak. No worries. We're hip. We're still hip. We're hip in our own
Hip is not how I would
almost
describe
boomerish
myself.
way. Yeah, we're hip in our, what is it, Generation X way?
Is it that
Right,
Huey
right.
Lewis song, Hip to Be Square?
Yeah. Same here.
JHG, you don't qualify, dude, because you look like you're fucking 35, so you can be quiet.
Oh. So is that where white don't crack? Can we say that, Doug, or is that
For JHG, yes. For me, as you can see, not so much.
goofy and nothing else? Well, I mean, I got that in me too.
Yeah.
So yeah. So lastly, and certainly not leastly,
Leasley, that's a
Amanda Leasley. I love the English here, especially with the two writers, Doug. I'm really banging it out
Hey,
here.
here's the
I
thing.
like Leasley. I would use Leasley.
English is so malleable. Like everybody's like, well, that's not a word. Yeah, it is. The whole language is all an adaptation of something from previous, and it just keeps moving. So, Leasley
Mhm.
works. Let's keep that one.
Doug, you're too kind.
And I'm right, but that's okay.
Oiler Freak, he'll never be old. He told Amanda this a couple times. Good.
It's good. You gotta
Good.
stay young. You know, I mean, I'm not in any kind of serious industry, that's for sure.
No, and I bet you a lot of your creative work keeps you young, right?
I hope so. I think so.
Especially
like to
young,
think so.
young at heart and young in mind.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm striving for as I get older, is to continue to be, and put myself in, out of my box and uncomforted. And still, I don't want to be comfortable ever, Amanda, for the most part. Now, in the wintertime here in Wisconsin, that's a different story.
Sure.
But
Can't even imagine.
I'm not touching my out zone on myself there. But what are you gonna say, Doug?
I was going to say you manifest that, Greg, especially in music, where you're constantly looking at new music and all that stuff. And whereas I tend to delve into my 80s shitty keyboardy music and stuff like that. But
yeah, whatever makes you comfortable, really. I mean, I might shame you for it here and there, but it's all about curating your life.
But I've also gone to a Highland concert this year, which is
Hozier?
I went to Hozier. I saw Alanis Morissette with Joan Jett. Joan Jett was fucking amazing. And a 65-year-old Highland is a Nordic Viking band, and they put on a show. Like, you go there, and it is just like it's a fucking show. Like, it's all throat singing and just this. Like, Amanda, I'm going to give you a little background on this one. This one is like, they go on and they have these people who are like, they're not warriors, but they're shown in the show as being sort of Viking warriors. They're all shirtless, male and female. And
Okay.
they're all equal. They all do and it's just like, the cool thing about it was like, the shirtless thing was not a big deal. It was just showing that they were all equal warriors, which was, I guess, apparently is a pretty big thing with Norse Vikings, is like, women and men fought together, and there was no distinction. Like, you're part of the warrior class. Let's fucking go. And just that thing was great. So that my wife took me to see a movie that was in the theaters for the group called Ghost, which is like just this super like. They remind me of Styx. Like, Styx was like, they would put on a show for their concert. They were a performance art band, and that's how Ghost is. All of them wear masks. Not. Kind of like Guar, but not that heavy. Like, just so I've gone and seen a lot of shit I would never see on my own. My wife has been kind of opening me on that one. So,
can we go back to the shirtless people? No, I'm just.
You can. It was fucking great. I mean, that was a great show.
I mean, was it nice to see them with their shirts off, Doug? Come on, give me a little bit more. I'm like a kid in this area. I'm like a 16-year-old now. I want to see people shirtless. Anyway,
I will tell you. I will tell you two things.
Move on.
I will tell you two things about that before we go, and it'll be very quick. Those warrior things, they volunteer to go on tour with them, and they volunteer, and it's not because they don't want to pay them. They're like, hey, if you want to come and do this with us, great. We'll go tour. You'll be able to hang out with us. They go and they always camp. They don't go to hotels. They camp because they want to be in nature. They're naturists. But the idea is, like, the guys were like not like big, massive, burly dudes. They were just scrawny guys, and there was several women who were just
That can look
scrawny
good,
women, but they were like that sinewy, strong look. You know what I mean? And then there was
Yeah.
one woman. My wife was like, "That woman is me," and she was like just endowed, but she was just part of the crew, and it was just not like there was no spectacle to it, like other than it's just like we're all in this doing this shit together. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just that made a huge impression on me. So sorry for my tangent there. Continue.
No, that's fascinating.
So lastly, y'all.
Greg, your microphone sounds a bit weird there, dude. So yeah, it's a little warbled, so not sure what that is. But anyway, Teen Titans Go. So let's talk a bit about that, Amanda, if you could.
Oh, sure. So I have a new Teen Titans Go graphic novel that's coming out in January. It's called Teen Titans Go on TV. And it's really fun middle grade comic. I've written some one-off stories for Teen Titans Go in the past, but this is my first full graphic novel with them. And it's fun because they're funny and they're fun. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. So if there's a sort of all right, so understand someone like me who hasn't watched cartoons much with my kids,
Mm-hmm.
What is Teen Titans Go? What is something that would be an older comp to that, if there is one? Like to me, like an older comp, like something that's sort of it looks like it's a bit silly and irreverent, but funny.
Yes. So it's been on for quite a while at this point, but it's really funny. It's really satirical. They kind of do a lot of stuff, a lot of parodies of things. I'm trying to think of what a good comp for us. I mean, it's not quite as parody as something like Animaniacs, and it's a little sillier than Looney Tunes. It can get kind of Simpson-esque maybe a little bit, but it's just kind of zany and funny. The premise of the graphic novel I'm doing is that Robin wants the Titans to become reality TV stars because he realizes that some other people are getting a lot more attention than they are. They're saving the city, but they're not getting as much attention as social media stars, reality TV stars, that kind of thing. So they try different genres of reality TV to see where they can make their mark. And of course, every single one that they try ends in some sort of mayhem, some sort of calamity, some sort of villain, and so it all falls apart in various different funny ways.
Oh, that's cool. There's always, that reminds me a bit of something like Fairly Odd Parents, but a little bit older. If that makes sense. Because there was always kind of really goofy shit going in Fairly Odd Parents, which I loved. So again, that's kind of sort of my point of it. That's what I was trying to get at. I figured it was something like that, not quite as old as what was the one with the guy, the big muscular guy with the fro, the blonde hair. What the hell was that guy's name? Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo. Yeah. Yes.
That had a lot of adult humor in that show.
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun with writing this is it is one of those properties that's so zany that you can almost do anything. You know what I mean? You really can do the weirdest, most off the wall thing out of the blue, and it works in that universe because, if characters want to, I don't know, have a dancing fart off or something, it's all fair game,
Mm-hmm. Right, Oiler Freak. Correct.
Yeah,
we weren't actually. We didn't even have that on the menu. So thanks for bringing it up, Oiler Freak. I don't know if you want to talk about this one, Amanda, or we can move on either way.
I can't. I feel so bad. Look, it's just I get around because I'm trying to keep my kid fed. But yeah, I did Star Wars Hyperspace Stories. It was a collection of Star Wars stories that I did with two other writers, and it was a storyline that wove in between all the different timelines in Star Wars, which was really complicated for us to put together because they wanted something that literally bridged all of it, but that had a through line. That was the challenge that Lucasfilm presented to the three of us. And we were like,
That had to be fucking really hard.
Well, so what I was like, okay, Wookiees live for a really long time because Wookiees can live for like 800 years. So I was like, so we got to have a Wookiee. Like we need a Wookiee that is a little kid all the way through because it's like, so there is a Wookiee that appears or an object owned by said Wookiee. Like there's that interweaves, not always at the forefront of every story, but sometimes, because I was like, what is this through line going to be? So yeah, that was a challenge for sure.
Orla Freak, by no means. No, this is how it works.
No, it's great. I'll talk about anything, please.
Well, yeah, and I think Orla Freak, this might be his first time here, and that's great. Welcome. But our comment section drives a lot of what goes on here. Doug and I have a little bit of an outline, but generally, no. So that's great, man.
Just let it fly, baby.
Well, we want y'all viewers to be able to talk to our guests, so that's why we do this. So thanks for that. It was good. Like I said, it was good. Doug, you have a question, and then we have a question from the audience, and then we'll keep going here.
Yeah. So my question is, you've worked with a spectrum of folks. Who is someone you haven't worked with that you really, really would, that's like your dream collaboration or your dream IP to work with them?
Oh my gosh. That's such a good question and also such a hard question.
I imagine it is.
I mean, because I'm really spoiled. Like you said, I've gotten to work with some of like, especially, those of us who are adults, like I've gotten to work with some of the big IP that
Star Wars, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like like a lot of the big stuff, DC and Marvel and Star Wars, and these things that that are really big. There's another one that hasn't been announced yet. That was a big one for my childhood that I just recently got to do, and that was always the one that was always my answer. I just recently got to do a story for it, but it hasn't been announced yet, so I can't say what it is yet.
We'll be tuning in to find out.
But I think one of the other ones, maybe. I grew up a big James Bond fan, and I think I'd love to do something 007. That's one thing that I haven't touched.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Like that's also an arena that you haven't kind of put your foot in too much yet either. Oh, yeah, that'd be really nifty.
Awesome. JHG has a question. What inspires you to write as much as you do? Do you get fatigued? Do you get what's the word? Burnout. There's another word I like to use, and another word that we all have to avoid, actually.
I think one thing that helps is that I do write a lot of different genres, and it's sort of a trick that helps me avoid burnout is like when you're doing something like Teen Titans Go or Powerpuff Girls, and then you can switch to something that's like very adult horror. There's such different worlds, such different parts of my creative brain that I think that going back and forth helps me feel fresh. I also do, though, I have to take little breaks. I have to take care of myself. I have to like go take a walk if I feel a little stuck, go take a shower, go do things, go play with my daughter and not think about what I'm writing. Because it is, I do write a lot. I am very prolific. The thing that really inspires me is providing for my family. And so that's very motivating. But it can be, it can be tiring because it's a different kind of tired when you're, like doing something mentally tired exhausts you one way, doing something mentally exhausts you in a different way. So I try to kind of do the other when I'm feeling really mentally exhausted. Then it's like, go work out or go for a walk or go do something that uses my body instead.
Yeah. A shower thing. That is actually where I do my best thinking. Is that something that actually helps you too? Like when I'm in the shower, I'll be in a shower for like 20 minutes. I'm always like, what is going on? I'm like, I am just thinking through stuff. Like, I don't know why. I have my phone down. I can't have my phone in there. And it's just me working through, all right, do I have a story? Or it's like, all right, I have these house projects. How do I organize them? Like my brain is like in a shower is like the place that I organize a whole bunch of shit that I can't organize when I'm just sitting here, or I'm doing like I am a busybody. I can't fucking sit still. So like I work from home 4 days a week. So those 4 days, work, go and do stuff around the house. Work, go do like I do that all day, and I can't sit still, and it sucks. And the shower is the one place where, and I like give me the fucking lobster boiling hot water and let me just think through stuff. So
Look at this guy.
that's me.
I'm pretty similar, honestly. I jokingly say, but I really mean it, that if I feel stuck on a story point, if I get in the shower, I'll be like halfway through washing my hair, and then I will figure out what I want to do. And then it's like, oh shit, I gotta rinse this out so I can go type it. It really works. I don't know why. There's something about the water. Probably like you said, like you can't have any kind of distracting thing in there with you. So it's just like you and your thoughts, but it works.
It does. For me, it works that way as well. Like, yeah, I like, obviously I have a regular job that is like, here's your time schedule. So my motivation to write is sometimes less because some days I'm just like, I'm fucking beat and I don't want to sit there and write. But like, the problem is that's when you probably should write.
All right, y'all. So I think let's go back to the comments quick, and then I have one last professional question to ask Amanda that shows that shows her range. Because I was surprised by this one when I saw it on her resume. But Daniel wants to say that before we move on, I think that the Teen Titans also does character relationships and dialogue really well, Amanda, because you're part of that. So
it is very good and very witty, at least when other people write it.
Yeah. There we go. You're a Bond fan. Are there any Bond graphic novels? I haven't been able to haven't checked in with that franchise. Do you know any?
Yeah, they do. There are some Bond comics, and there was even my friend Jody Hauser did a Moneypenny one-off once too, which was kind of
Miss Moneypenny.
Yeah, she had her own like one-off thing that was kind of fun.
That's interesting that it was a Miss Moneypenny just focused on her.
Yeah, it was just like from her point of view, which was really cool and fun.
Not a view you get. It's always James Bond, so that's nifty.
Yeah. So Daniel's headed to a concert, y'all. Rancid and Smashing Pumpkin and Green Day.
Fucking
yeah, Green Day. They got to do American Idiot. Mm-hmm. They're really triggering a whole lot of people lately. So hats off to Green Day or Green Day. Sorry. I got to get them a.
Don't say Green Bay, you Wisconsinite, you fucker.
I don't. I'm not trying to do that. Go on, Doug.
I was just say Smashing Pumpkins. Billy Corgan's voice, man. I have a hard time with that voice. He seems like a super loving dad. Like there's one song I like, and it's called Disarm by them, but it's Disarm. I like that song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But otherwise, like
they got a couple.
His voice is hard for me to navigate, I guess. Hey, whatever you like, okay, great.
I think it's really polarizing. His voice, you either really love it or you really don't like it. He's like a lot of people. There's so many of those, Doug. There's so many of those where like their voice is just like the attraction or the repulsion. I will say the lead singer of Linkin Park was for me repulsion, but a lot of people love him. R.I.P. But yeah, so like there's Smashing Pumpkins always came off to me as that weird sounding band that people who love them, people who don't like them just don't. Oiler Freak says that he grew up on OG Star Wars, but he's getting quite tired of some of the same core, y'all. Let's move outward in that universe. And Doug says cheers to that, or Doug is showing his beer either way. Doug, you get the comment either way.
I am not a Star Wars fan, so all I'm going to talk about is I opened a beer called Mango Ghostface, which is a great name.
What a great name. Wow.
Yeah. It's a ghost style ale, which Greg knows is one of my favorite beer styles, with Himalayan pink
Everybody
salt,
knows it at this point.
coriander, mosaic hops, and conditioned on mango. So, man, the mango, you can smell that shit coming off the glass, and it's sitting fucking a foot from my face. It's like, mango is just a really super strong flavor. So,
mango.
Look at that color. It's lovely.
Mm,
Oh man, that's
makes sense.
ooh, that's good. That's very
Yeah.
good. Especially when I don't know how it is there, Amanda, but like I'm in upstate New York, and it has been hot and humid and just like I walk out and it's like walking out and just getting slapped in the face with water. Like it's been terrible here. I don't know how it is in LA, but how is it for you guys?
It's hot. It's, I grew up in North Carolina and in Central Florida, so it is not the humidity that you all deal with on the East Coast here, like, which is makes it more bearable, because it was in the upper 90s today, but it's not humid. So I'd rather take the like 100-degree heat over like 85 with a lot of humidity. Honestly, the humidity is what makes it unbearable.
Yeah, the humidity just destroys me. Sorry, Greg. What were you going to say?
Canada's been brutal too. Look at that. Yeah, and Midwest has this humidity too. I don't know if it's as much as New York though, but we got it. So JHG says he saw Smashing Pumpkins before the pandemic and they were amazing. Daniel says there's some deeper cuts that you'll find that sound like that. Yeah. They're in a heat dome under there. Yeah, and then isn't there a new wildfire going on too? Oh yeah, DC. Mm-hmm.
DC is always just freaking humid as shit too.
And Daniel's closer to Doug, so that's what's going on there.
He's in the middle of New York City, so
that's closer. So Amanda, we were speaking about your range and about how you do different projects that keep you on your toes. It sounds like keep you out of your box. It sounds like keep you on the edge of innovating and not being. I don't want to. I almost said lazy. Lazy is not the word. Safe is the word.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Safe is fine. Safe is great, actually, for a lot of people. Safe is where people need to operate. Safe is, good. I don't want to frame this whole thing that like safe is not good just because you don't take that route, if that makes sense. But one of the things that you've done that I'm fascinated about, and Doug, we were talking about all the different people that Amanda's worked with. This is a definitely interesting one right here. With I don't know if anybody y'all probably not familiar with this project because I wasn't, but just because I wasn't doesn't mean y'all weren't. But I don't think it got the heat that it should have gotten. Pun intended, Amanda. This is 24 hours of reality. 24 reasons for hope. This is something. I'll let Amanda.
Sure. Yeah. So this was former Vice President Al Gore's climate reality project. I worked with the broadcast for 4 years. Was an annual broadcast that was live for 24 hours when it would air. And it would air around the globe. So in prime time in different locations for an hour. But we were also live streaming the entire time and live for the entire 24-hour broadcast. And my job as the writer was to write the over 500-page script that was for the broadcast. And then I would sit in the control room for the entire broadcast next to the teleprompter in case things changed. And that would end up being about 36 hours because we do some pre-tapes and some like satellite hits with, especially when we were talking to like world leaders and dignitaries and things who had limited scheduling. Because it would have, there would be celebrities and climate scientists and politicians and world leaders and just all kinds of people coming together to try to raise awareness about the climate crisis. And we did it in different places. The first year that I did it was in Paris in 2015, right before the Paris Agreement that was signed there by the UN. So leading up to that. And actually we were live and we were at the base of the Eiffel Tower and we were live when the terrorist attacks happened at the Bataclan and the several other places in 2015. And we were live during that. And it was a really intense and scary time. And half of our crew was French and had families there in Paris. And we had to shelter in place. And President Hollande at the time of France sent some military to come to where we were, and we eventually had to, close down the broadcast and shelter in place until we could go somewhere safely. And then it was a really weird, intense week with I have a lot of strange stories from that week. But yeah, it was an interesting thing because that day I was there with Vice President Al Gore, and Kofi Annan was there, and Duran was there. And so it's like that funny thing where you can, not funny at all, but that very weird story that I can tell that has the most random group of people that you could be with in this terrifying and sad and very surreal feeling situation. And it's one of those things that when I was later, when I was interviewing for a job, and it was another live TV show, and somebody was like, this show can get really stressful. So I don't know, like in the control room, it can be a really high stress environment. And I was like, oh, I'm good. And they were like, no, I don't think you understand how stressful it is. And I was like, I promise you that there is no way that I could be in a more stressful live control room situation than the one that I was previously in. And our daughter was a baby. She was here in the United States with my wife. She was 10 months old. And so it was my first time away from her as well. So it was a really intense one. But then I went back and kept working on it for the next 3 years because it's great.
For punishment.
Doug, I have to give myself a pat on the back for prepping like a good person and having that ready, because I'm telling y'all, Amanda and I didn't talk before this stream. I had no idea that was about to come out of your mouth.
It's a wild story, right? There's so many stories I could tell from that week, but it was a sad time. It was also a beautiful time to see the French people come together. But yeah, that was wild.
And the French people, dude, they fucking know how to protest. But yeah,
Doug, you get to follow that up with a question, Doug.
Oh, well, I didn't really have a question. Now, all I could say is that is a super interesting group of people to put together in one group. Duran, I mean, obviously, as a person who is in his 50s, Duran was a very important band in my realm. So I just think it was, that's just fascinating. And it's funny because I like to think I know a lot of things about, like, oh, we're having this guest and they're doing this, and I had no idea about that thing. And I feel bad that I had no clue.
Well, it's not a story that I lead with a lot. And it's not, I mean, like, unless it comes up, it doesn't really come up. You know what I mean? Because you're never going to be like, hey, were you ever in the middle of like a weird terrorist attack with a whole bunch of people? And you're like, oh, well, as we all have been.
Another country with the former vice president. I mean, I was just grabbed to it because I was like, this lady has worked with a lot of different people, and Al Gore is another one that you have worked with, and that's just amazing. It's just great. You have really great life experiences. Yeah, and I don't know, Doug, unless you have a follow up. Again, like I said, this is why I learned, Doug, at one point that it was really smart of me to at least do guest research, at least more than I used to. So I delve in a little bit harder, even on a guest that we've had previous. I still don't take anything for granted. And I saw that I was like, she worked with Al Gore. That's dope. Like, let's talk about that. So like, the whole graphic was, I got the graphic, and I don't know. I didn't know you were to have a story like this, but I knew that there would be some kind of story working with the vice president. Like, that's just dope. So again, more hats off to you. Great stories, fun times, all that. So unless unless like I gave you a chance, but if you still have something you thought about, you want to talk about that, that's cool. But we can maybe talk about who might be our next VP, which is a really great segue.
It's a nice segue there.
Yeah, look at that. I might have done this once or twice, so I think I'm getting a little good at it.
Before we do the segue, I just want to say that I rely on Greg to do the research because I'm lazy and I just know the topical and current shit, and I don't do any deep dives. So that's a little bit. What is it? a little background to how
Behind the
little I do
curtain.
behind the curtain.
Behind
How
the
I
curtain.
I depend on Greg for way more than people realize. So that's why I love
Yeah,
you, man.
it's
You
mutual.
fucking you do all the work, and I just fucking show up and
mutual.
act like an idiot. It's great.
I think I do that too, but whatever. Anyway,
Cheers.
so cheers. So Doug and I don't think really have talked about Joe Biden stepping down that hard, Kamala Harris rising, and y'all did Joe dirty. He was a good president, but at the same time, that was a great move because Kamala is surging. She's amazing. She's ready. She's qualified. She's all those things that you want to look at. And respectfully, y'all, I don't care if she's black or not. Don't care. She could be Klingon. Okay, Donald Trump. Just so you know, as a black person, I don't care if she's black. I don't care. Okay, she's a good person. She works hard. She's qualified as hell. She's a woman. We should have did this in 2016 instead of picking your dumb ass. So now's our time for redemption. This is the redemption arc. Amanda, who writes stories, knows what I'm talking about. Okay? So we're here. She needs to pick a VP. So this is not done in any order because I know Doug might accuse me of something because of the first person. But the first person here who might be Kamala Harris's VP is Andy Bashir. I absolutely positively love this guy for many reasons, but the real reason I love Amanda is because I found who he was during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, part of my way of trying to cope to get through it, because I think we all did different things, was to watch the good politicians talk about how we're going to get out of it. And everybody remembers Cuomo, and everybody's watching Cuomo, and he was doing a good job. Don't get me wrong. He was doing a bad job elsewhere, for sure. Let's not even go there. But as far as these pressures go and being a front of trying to keep people safe and stuff, he was a good guy. But Andy was the other guy for me, and Andy was the guy. I literally watched his pressers almost every single day for an hour. I think they started at noon. I was on it because Andy was speaking the truth. He was keeping his people safe. He was going up against it in Kentucky, if y'all can imagine. And he's just a really solid guy. I'm not a religious person, but Andy is religious, and Andy really lives the religious life that I think we criticize a lot of religious people who are hateful for. Andy is not that guy. So, without further ado, that's my introduction to Andy, and I'll get y'all's opinion on Andy real quick. But before that, I want to play a clip of Andy that shows. I got some clips together, y'all, of why I think each guy, what accents each guy, as far as who they are and why they would be a good VP for us.
What's your message to those Iowa voters on why the Democratic Party should win back their vote in this upcoming presidential election?
Well, in Kentucky, there have been a lot of Trump Bashir voters. I ran against Donald Trump's handpicked candidate and won by 5 points in a state that went to President Trump by, I think, 26 points in the last election. People are willing to change their vote if they believe you care about them. If you talk to them and not at them, if you show up over and over, and if you're focused on the things that matter most to them. All too often, sometimes people in a national party focus on the issue of the day in D.C. Well, if you don't feel good about your job, the public infrastructure, your health care, the education your kids are getting, and your public safety, you don't get to anything else. And so it's really important to have that day in and day out focus, and then to actually get results. And then finally, I think you got to share your why. Right? People want to know that you're real. So why do you make decisions that you do? For me, it's my faith. I believe in the golden rule that we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves, and the parable of the Good Samaritan that says everyone is our neighbor. And so when I make decisions, tough decisions, when I vetoed the nastiest anti-LGBTQ bill that our state had ever seen, and I did it in my election year, I did it because I believe all children are children of God. And I wanted those children to know that while other people were picking on them, somebody cares about them. And it was after that somebody came up to me and said, one of the nicest things they said that I've heard, they didn't say, I agree with you on everything. They said, I don't always agree with you, but I know you're doing what you think is right. I mean, if we're willing to be vulnerable enough to share our why, then it gives people the grace and the space to vote for you, even if they don't agree with everything. But you got to listen to their why too. That's the being seen, the being cared about, and not being overlooked. And in Kentucky, we understand what being overlooked feels like. I'm the type of governor, and if given an opportunity, would be the type of candidate that I think can give voice to that.
Amanda.
Mm-hmm. Look, I really like him. I really do.
Any negatives you see?
Not really. I think he's one of two that I feel like if I have to be predictive, and look, I'm voting for her no matter who she chooses for VP. Like, let me just be clear.
Agreed.
But he's one of two that people are talking about that I think would be a super wise choice for a lot of reasons. I think he is really good at making people feel seen and connected with, and like he cares. I think it comes across really authentic because I think it is authentic. I don't think it's an act at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I don't think you can fake that kind of authenticity, and I think that will go a long way. I also think that because she's a California Democrat, that having a Southern Democrat is a really good idea because it's a different kind of, he's used to working in a different kind of environment. You know, he's used to working in a red area and how you have to navigate that in a way that I think is really favorable.
Doug?
I like him. I would be hesitant to pull him because I'd like to think Kentuckians have a chance to actually have somebody who can help them. That is not a denigration on him. That is a denigration on the gerrymandering and nonsense that goes on in Kentucky. He's really well spoken. I am not religious at all. There are certain people I know who are religious. One of my best friends is a hospice pastor, and he and I disagree on religion because I am an atheist and he is obviously not. But that guy lives his, like, he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. And it seems like Andy Bashir is a guy that does the same. Like he might be religious, but he doesn't belittle folks who don't believe like him. He just thinks everybody should have a fair shot. So I think he would be a good candidate. My concern is mostly about not having a super right-wing governor in his place in a state that is largely governed by right-wingers. So that's more of a Kentucky residents thing rather than a national thing, if that makes sense. Just more, I just worry about those folks who live there.
Well, to your point, Doug, do you remember the guy that he beat out to become governor was a fucking loon?
He was a loon.
Huge loon. Like I think he made MAGAs look like mainstream, actually. That guy was wild. And we don't have to talk about Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell. We can move on. And we will move on.
To that point, though, just a quick aside, the guy that is not in it is good. I don't think you have Roy Cooper in here from North Carolina because he dropped out.
Right.
Because of his lunatic fucking the guy that's in his place. Because North Carolina has a law in place that if the governor leaves for any amount of time, the person that's next in line gets to make anything. And that guy had a thing where he told people in a church that Democrats should be killed. So yeah, that guy needs to stay where he is. So yeah, I think that the guy that was there before with that Andy Bashir beat is in that same vein of just lunacy. So.
He is, yeah. And Andy Bashir has a lineage all there. His father was a governor, and so there's a lot of a lot of familiarity with him, and that's I think why he also has the reach that he does. But also he's really authentic, I believe. Again, I watched this guy for like 6 months every single day. Like that is who he is. He is who he is. So hats off for Andy Bashir. I wish him the best. I actually think Andy Bashir will be president one day. I just think he has all the chops. He has the demeanor. He's the knowledge. He has the connection to a lot of white folks. He has connection to black folks like me because he just knows what the right thing to do is. It feels like he's just one of those people. He has it politically. This guy has it. So next in line, this next guy has it all over the place. In fact, this guy might define what it is. Pete Buttigieg, y'all should know who he is. Let's give Pete a little bit. This is just a recent clip, and this just shows to me why he may be the best VP person on this list. So here
Economy rebounded from COVID. Let me be clear. Unemployment is lower than it was even before COVID. Stock market is higher than it was even before COVID. And job creation is faster than it was even before COVID. So no matter what rebound effects you're talking about, these are economic results that have not happened since before I was born. Now, in terms of cost, that's been a major issue. And by the way, that's been a major issue in every wealthy country. This is an example of something that was largely affected by COVID. But I think there's a reason why inflation in the U.S. is lower than it is in any of the other G7 countries.
It's actually not true.
Yes,
At least, well, not according to the Washington Post. They say Japan, Italy, and Germany all had lower inflation rates than we do, and Italy's is less than 1%.
They may have been looking at a different time period, but I'm telling you, if you look at the overall time period when it was toughest, our inflation rate was better. And I would add, right now, wages are going up faster than prices. That means even after inflation, you're coming out ahead. Now, that's an across-the-board number, but some people...
For 2 years, that wasn't true.
We had a tough bout of inflation, no doubt that we did, which is why President Biden is trying to lower costs. Now, look, congressional Republicans were against President Biden when he worked to cut insulin down to $35 a month for seniors. Right now, especially for families that are pressed on costs, we could have insulin capped at $35 a month for everybody, not just for seniors. All it would take is for a few congressional Republicans to walk away from agreeing with Big Pharma and start agreeing with President Biden. That's not the only cost he's out to cut. He was in the House in that State of the Union speech calling for an across-the-board $2,000 out-of-pocket cap, something else that would help in a country where people are feeling the pinch of those prices that went up with post-COVID inflation. Congressional Republicans are standing in the way of it, but he's going to keep pushing. He's trying to get rid of junk fees, taking on credit card companies, because we know that those are something that affects the cost of living. And look, something else that comes into play alongside the cost of housing is the cost of transportation, which is why, after years and years of talk and years of failure, President Biden successfully began to implement the infrastructure bill that is now creating jobs, boosting income, and lowering the cost of our supply chains in every part of the country.
Well, there are a lot. We didn't even get to your day job because there's a lot going on in the world of transportation too. You did. But...
So my negatives on Andy Bashir are, I don't know if he has that. He has it. I know he has it, but he hasn't displayed that pushback and that being able to get on Fox News and do what Pete Buttigieg does every single time he goes on there. And lastly, I love to say this. I like my president smarter than me. This guy is smarter than me. This guy is smarter than y'all, respectfully. He's smarter than most folks. And why is it a bad thing to have smarter people than you unless you have a problem or you're triggered or you have something that's an issue? There's nothing wrong with this guy. He is the perfect VP candidate. He actually, in my opinion, should be the one that she says on Tuesday. That's it. He gets his favorability is number one out of all these guys, with Republicans, with independents, with Democrats. So everybody views him favorably. He's a combat vet. He was a mayor. There's nothing wrong with this guy at all. Sorry. He's the perfect politician. That's what I'm going to say. Amanda, your response?
Look, I love him and I agree with you. He's smart. Like, one of the things that I love is everything he does is so smart. He doesn't get flustered. He always has a calm, well thought rebuttal. And even, if you notice, so that was on Fox News. So he very specifically, very intelligently chose cutting down the cost of insulin for seniors because he knows he's talking to viewers of Fox News. And he knows that he's literally talking to the seniors who had their price of insulin go up and reduce. And even though they're conservative, he knows that's who he's speaking to there. So like, that's why he chose that specific example in that specific audience. You know, that's the thing. He's always doing the intelligent thing. I think for that reason, strategically, they may save him for a different position within the administration. Something like Secretary of State is just my guess, again, with me having no, you know, I don't have any inside track into any of these things, but my gut says it'll be something like that as opposed to a VP pick. We'll see. You know, I mean, he's wonderful, big fan, but that's what I think will happen.
He's another one that I feel that will be president. Someone can't, all these guys can't be, but if this guy's my president, I'm good. What's up, Doug?
All right. So I think Pete Buttigieg will be president someday. It's actually, of all these people, this is the guy I could see being president. I could really see him being president. He has a way of relating to people that is not common amongst politicians at all. Most of them feel very aloof or just, I'm going to be really confrontational if they're on the right side. But I saw something talk about this on TikTok and it made a lot of sense to me. And granted, TikTok is not the fucking, take it for what it is. It's fucking TikTok. But this person said, I love Pete Buttigieg. I just think that they're not going to choose him for a few reasons. One, I think he's going to be president, but in another cycle or two, like that he would run again. But what they said was, and Amanda, I like your commentary on this, is with the rhetoric against trans and queer people, is having a queer VP with a Black and Asian president. I don't think it's a bridge too far, but I could see how folks would be pointing out and making like maybe that's a big problem. How do you see that from your perspective? And like I said, I'm a cis straight white man, so like I don't have a lot of skin in that game personally.
I'm gonna jump in on this one after Amanda. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I absolutely think there are people who would be worried about that, right? Because it is a lot. It's a woman. We've got, like, there's a lot going on. However, also because there's a lot going on, it's like the people that are going to be afraid of him being gay are also not going to vote for her for all the reasons you just listed. So, like, I don't think there's a lot of crossover there. Like, if you're afraid to vote because there's a gay VP, that I think you're already not voting for Harris. So maybe it doesn't even matter. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, well, now we're so far out of like the straight white heteronormative safety zone that maybe it doesn't matter as much anymore. But I do think there will be people that will strategically think that she needs to have a very safe, very white, very male, very Christian, and I can see that strategy too. But I don't know that that's not going to change who she is.
That's why you got Andy though. Yeah. That's Andy though. That's Andy. Andy's a family man.
Yep.
Everyday white man,
and he's great.
He's right. Now Pete though, Amanda stole all my thunder, and she's completely right. Again, I don't think it's a bridge to gap if you got a Black woman up there. You're already dealing with all of that. Okay, so like that's just you're literally dealing with all of that actually. And I'm not trying to equivocate, of course, gay experience and Black experience. I'm not saying that, but Black women are probably the most aligned. Is aligned? Aligned's not the word, Doug. Maligned? Sorry, group that we have. And so if we're putting one up, then that's testing everything to the bone. Like we thought we were testing with Hillary Clinton. Just wait, Doug. Just wait. So, adding Pete Buttigieg, who again, I think the thing about Pete Buttigieg that I understand he's gay. We got that. That's something that's I think the thing is that he's so the favorables are so high for him. Just respectfully,
for sure.
Especially with these guys, I think people are already seeing past the gayness. Is what I'm saying. And they just see a principled, very principled man who knows shit. Like on some level, no one can deny how much this man knows. So if you do, again, you are showing what you are, which is stupid. So
I have I also have another comment about Pete when you're ready. So,
hell yeah, go there. I'm done. Yeah, Amanda said most of what I wanted to say. Yeah.
He also did a whole thing where the gay deaf community gave him a sign name, which in sign language is a big deal to be someone who's popular, to be given a sign name. And he responded to the person who gave him his sign name using sign language. That, as a partially deaf person, hit me right in the heart. And I was just like, that makes me just happy. Like I said, I'm not deaf. I can hear, but not well. So seeing someone who's willing, because I just started trying to take ASL, because it may come a day where I can't hear completely. So being able to see him just do something where he was actually speaking, and it wasn't alphabet speak, it was him using words. And he's such a remarkable person that I think that could quote unquote overshadow his queerness. But he also doesn't, it's just gonna sound weird, but I think he's a safe queerness. Does that make sense? Like, yes. I don't mean that in a negative sense.
No.
Like,
no.
Look at him. He looks like a Harvard-educated kid who doesn't quote look queer, and that maybe that will save him. And I think he'd be a great VP. I just think what they're going to do is like Amanda said, put him in like Secretary of State and build him so that when Kamala is done, he's the next up.
Doug, let's break it down while we're here. And Amanda, you tell us if we're out of line.
Go for it.
Let's break it down. Let's break it down while we are here. Let me put it in a more blunt way than you did. He's not flamboyantly gay. He's not overly gay. He's not too much gay for people. He doesn't, and you know what I mean by flamboyantly gay. You know what I mean by that. And I think there's a lot of people that his approval ratings wouldn't be as high if he was. That's it. He's palatable. And it's a bad thing, Doug, because I understand what you're saying, because he can't just he should be able to be himself, and still he should be able. I mean, and that's probably who Pete is. So let's not front. Yeah, he's not a flamboyantly gay guy. Not all gay guys are flamboyant, but the ones that are, I agree with you, will get more disdain and wouldn't be as higher in the favorability ratings as Pete. What do you say about that, Amanda?
I mean, I agree. It's like, I think within all, again, not to ever equivocate, but within all marginalized communities, there is still this idea of like respectability politics and what's palatable to the masses, and what makes people feel safe and comfortable, and what doesn't make people feel safe and comfortable, right? And it has to do with the way we dress, the way we speak, the way we move, the way we interact. As a lesbian, I'm also very aware of it, because I'm fairly femme presenting, because if you don't know that I'm married to a woman, you may not necessarily, if I'm not decked out in rainbows, you may not necessarily know that I'm a lesbian. Mm-hmm. There's a certain amount of, I think, safety and comfort that people feel around me that they might not. I've in my life, I've dated some very butch women, and they get treated very differently in just day-to-day society than I do. And I think that, for example, I'm the PTA president, right, at my daughter's elementary school. I'm pretty sure I'm the first lesbian PTA president that we've ever had, but I'm me. I show up with cookies and Starbucks and say hi to the children and work at the, in my little sundress. And it's a very safe vibe that people feel comfortable with. And I think that kind of stuff, I think it's important to have it all, right? To have the people that push boundaries and make people feel uncomfortable. And I think as long as you're yourself, it's fine, because that is also just who I am. It's not me putting on a front to be a safe, palatable person. It's just like, I am a regular ass PTA mom who also happens to be married to a lady. And I think that's true for Pete as well. I think he is completely himself.
Oh, I wasn't implying otherwise. I want to make that
clear. Agree. I agree with you.
But I was just saying, I know the hammering point, if they're going to bend into the racism on the right, as they have for Kamala, they're gonna bend into the queer politics on Pete.
And as I don't talk about it much publicly, but a lot of people close to me know I'm fully on the spectrum, but I'm a masculine male. So, with that, I'm just not that. So I can understand Pete. I understand it. He's also a politician too, so let's not escape that. So there's a level of, public persona and personal persona, and that's fine actually. I mean, as long as it, as long as it's, generally, they generally align, I'm cool with that. That's part of being a politician actually. So I'm not, part of it is again, and we do it at work. We do it every day, y'all. So we do it at our jobs. So don't do that. Like, don't do that. So that being said, Pete, I'm sorry why I keep doing this. I keep missing my point here. Sorry, Amanda. Pete Buttigieg is the only one that I will scream in joy if he's picked, actually. Really, I think it would be amazing, and I think he's the best pick. So with that being said, y'all, we got to proceed and go on. The next pick here, again, another amazing guy, another he brings tangibles that the other guys don't bring, but he also brings a risk too, like the other guys too. And that would be Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona. He's the only one on the list I've ever sent donation money to. Facts. Twice actually. I like him because he's a scientist, a real ass, whole ass, real scientist, not a fake one, not someone who's acting like it, not someone who pretends to be, not someone who makes decisions like they are, not someone who denies it. Mark Kelly knows everything. Also, what I love about Mark Kelly is that he brings those gun control chops with his wife. Gabby is amazing. His story is amazing. He's inspiring. And actually, I think one of the things I didn't like about Mark Kelly when I was looking at all these guys, or not didn't like, one of the things I thought that he lacked throughout most of those guys is like his communication and his like, can Mark Kelly be like nasty enough to like get into the fucking pits? Like, we're gonna see with Shapiro actually, because he's that guy. Shapiro's a pit bull and all this, y'all. We're gonna get to him, but I want to show you this clip of Kelly that kind of like got me back to where I needed to be with him.
think we all know guys like this, guys that think they know better than everyone about everything. You think you know better than women and doctors about abortion. You even think you know better than seniors about Social Security, and you think you know better than veterans about how to win a war. Folks, we all know guys like this, and we can't be letting them make decisions about us because it's just dangerous.
Mark Kelly, Amanda?
All right. When somebody asked me who I thought would be a strong strategic pick for VP, my first answer was Mark Kelly. I really, really think this would be a very strong and good choice for a lot of reasons. I mean, he's an astronaut. He's the military service, I just think there's a lot that works really well, that complements things with Harris very well. And I think that the experience, with that his wife went through is very timely, very relevant, even timely with what happened to Trump a couple weeks ago. Like, I think it's a very strong choice for a lot of reasons, and I really like him. I would be a little bit worried about Arizona without him. But in the big picture, I think this would be a super solid choice.
Do you see him as being a president?
I don't know if I see him as a president. I do think I think he would be a good VP in that he could absolutely step in and be a strong president. I don't know that I think that he would run and be a candidate anytime in the near future.
Yeah. I got you. I got those vibes too. Again, this comment I loved. And yeah, I'm gonna. Doug and I haven't talked about this, but we were going to talk about it next week. But we might as well. We've been opening the curtain tonight, so we might as well keep it open. Doug, we need to get more sciencey and more astronomy-y here. and I need to do that myself. I was like, I haven't had one astronomy guest on this stream at all ever. That's I almost want to like slap myself 700 times in a row because
yeah, motherfucker.
I'm such a big, huge. I went to school for astrophysics, Amanda, but I never finished. But so yeah, and this guy is just everything for me as far as that goes. I just love Mark Kelly up and down. Like I said, he's the only one on this list I sent money to. And I would do it again if I needed to. Arizona's just so tight, and he's really popular there, y'all. But if y'all know, he won really 2 close races. So like, while he's popular, Arizona's a struggle for Democrats this period, just the demographics and all that. RE for Democrats, there's not that many black people. RE, but anyway, that aside, Doug, what are your thoughts about Mark Kelly? Amanda and I have jumped on Mark Kelly already.
All right, I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes with this bit. I like Mark Kelly a lot. I think in any other election, he would be the go-to state pick. The problem I have for him is that his seat is vulnerable in the Senate, and Arizona's purple leaning red, and I would worry that we need not just the presidency, we need the House, we need the Senate, we need all of it to try to get through what we're trying to get through. So I would say that for him, go ahead, Greg, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I just want to add a little context to that. I believe that if Mark Kelly is picked as VP, that the Democratic governor will be able to select someone there for 2 years. And then after that, there'll be a special election. Mark Kelly's term is up in 4 years. So I just wanted to put that out there so everybody knew that context. You can continue, Doug. No worries. I just wanted to, whatever you can deduce what you want out of that, but that's what would happen if Kamala picked him.
That's fair. But in that state, we also have Carrie Lake, who is a fucking lunatic. And I want her nowhere near any sort of levers of power because she is a fucking loon. And I don't want her anywhere near that. So that is my only real issue with Mark Kelly. It's not him.
It's Carrie Lake.
It's Carrie Lake and the vulnerability of that state. Yes, okay, so his governor will select a Democratic candidate, which is great. But after that, do we have Carrie? There are a few people who I think are more insane running for seats. And I'm including Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm including Lauren Boebert. I'm including Matt Gaetz. She is way loonier than all of them. And that's saying some shit. If you're loonier than those 3 people, you are way fucking out on the fringe, dude. You should be nowhere near. You should be doing something where you have no power because that's not going to work out well. So anyway, sorry, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, cool. And we saw a little clip of Mark being he drug McMasters or whoever that dude was. That he's a loon too. He's another loon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Orler. That when I go off, I go off. So I apologize.
All right. So after this, we have I would consider most people consider the quote front runner of all this. He is Josh Shapiro. What am I doing here? Governor of Pennsylvania. 51 years old. Oh, look at that. Me and him are the same age, Joe. Josh Shapiro.
I have a question. I've seen they had the height of Pete Buttigieg and don't have the height of Josh Shapiro. Why is that? Why do we need to know the height? What does that fucking matter? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I'm saying that largely for Amanda because Amanda's not a tall person. So
I'm a very short person.
Oh wow, I would have never known.
We look like the U.S. women's volleyball team. I don't know if you've seen them standing next to each other. It's like the really tall blonde and the really short brunette. That's literally just that's my wife and I any given day.
Anyway, go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
No worries. Josh Shapiro is the governor of Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro won his election. What was it, like 15 points more than Joe or something like that? Yeah. People like Josh Shapiro because he is very I would say he's probably, outside of Pete, he's probably the most polished person, as far as like being able to lay out facts. I would put Josh Shapiro kind of more on the attack dog, pit bull kind of guy. He's going to, if Kamala picks him, I don't even think Kamala has to even spout a bad word anymore, because this guy is going to be out there, and he's really sharp tongued, but he's very, very relatable in that way, if that makes sense. Hey, Donald Trump has the sharpest tongue ever, and he's relatable to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So like Josh Shapiro does it in a way that he's very relatable. I just question a lot of things about Josh Shapiro, actually more things than anybody else on this list. But the fact that if, he, and I still also question Doug, Doug and I have been going back and forth, or not going back and forth, but we're conversating about, like, if you pick a VP, does that VP guarantee or necessarily help you win that state? And Pennsylvania is obviously, I think, what everybody's kind of calling the bellwether state this year. Like, Trump can't win it without in Kamala on the current maps, but I think Kamala expands the maps like Obama did, but that's another story. But without that, Kamala can't win it without Pennsylvania. Trump can't win it without Pennsylvania. So everybody's all focused on Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro's young. He I don't know if y'all remember during the pandemic, and then Trump was in, he was literally fighting with Trump like almost every day, back and forth, like pushing back on Trump's misinformation and like, look, motherfucker. So like he has the resume to be able to stand up to Trump. And this actually, I think, happened today. So this is the clip that I wanted to show that shows, I think, his chops as far as a VP. And it also shows that he's ready for the fight.
Question. Governor, J.D. Vance just said this about you, and these are his words, quote, he compared you to a really bad impression of Barack Obama. What is your response to that?
Is that what he said? That's great. I love how we get the real-time quotes here. I mean, look, I don't know. Barack Obama was probably our most gifted orator of my time, so it's kind of a weird insult, I guess. But look, I'll say this about J.D. Vance. It is real hard being honest with the American people when you're not being honest with yourself. J.D. Vance is a total phony baloney. He is the most inorganic candidate I think I have ever seen on the national stage. He doesn't know what he believes, and that is why it is impossible for him to articulate a coherent message to the American people, because he doesn't believe it. This guy is not exactly off to a good start, and it is clear that Donald Trump really has buyer's remorse with his pick. So if he wants to sling insults in my direction, which I'm not even sure is an insult, let him do it. That's fine. Bring it on. I'll be ready for whatever the hell J.D. Vance throws my direction. Thanks, everybody.
I mean, Amanda?
That was great. What I like about him is he can dish it. He will be, like you said, like Harris won't even have to say anything about anybody anymore because he would do it for her. I think, and I say this, I would be happy with very happy with any of these choices being the VP. So I would be less excited about him than some of the other ones, but only in a way of like when you have all of your favorite things that you get to eat for dinner and like which item do you want to eat first. It's not like a, oh, I think he's terrible situation. It's more like I think some of the other candidates would be, I think, smarter or more strategic choices for a variety of reasons, but he's great.
Doug?
My only issue with Josh Shapiro as someone who grew up in Pennsylvania, it's my only issue. The only one. He's very big about school vouchers. Mm. I am not a big fan of that. That fucks over funding for public schools. That is the only thing that I have an issue with on Josh Shapiro. Listen, you're gonna run on things like, and no candidate for president, for vice president is gonna fucking align with everything you like. They're not. I love that he's a bulldog. I love that he just is who he is, and that he's like, oh, you're going to compare me to Barack Obama, like the greatest fucking orator of president we've ever had in my lifetime too, and I'm 52. Like, yeah, I'm great. Insult me with that. Fantastic. So yeah, I like him. Like Amanda said, there's not a candidate that you have talked about yet that I was like, no, absolutely not. So yeah, he's a great candidate. He just has one issue that I have a real issue with. So
yeah, that issue, Doug. And then also I'm what's the word? Cautious about his is it supportive Israel or his stances on it, because we'll have to
get to the Gaza stuff. That's like a larger thing to talk about.
Well, yeah. But my point is that his stance is really more in line with Joe Biden, and we know that was one of the most divisive things about Joe Biden, actually, with Democrat voters.
Especially young ones.
Like I'm concerned about that tamping down the enthusiasm with Kamala. I think that like Pete, Bashir, I think these other guys that we've seen, I think that they could keep that enthusiasm. I'm not saying Josh would tamp it, but like there's just it's tough, and it's tough because he's the Pennsylvania governor, and not only that, he ran like 15 points more, broader than Joe, so he definitely has a connection with the people in Pennsylvania
for sure.
And being from Pennsylvania, like you, Doug, being born and raised there, basically, Pennsylvania is its own kind of thing. We already know we're our own type of folks.
I will say
if it works with us, it works with us. Like. People don't hold on, Doug, real quick. People don't like Fetterman that much nationally, but people in Pennsylvania generally like Fetterman a lot, actually. So it's really weird how Pennsylvania rolls, not like the rest of the country. What are you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say the fact that the one bridge fucking caught on fire and he just marshaled all sorts of fucking resources to go get that shit built in like fucking a month on I-95, which is a major thoroughfare through Philly, is just like that's crazy to be able to marshal that. So he deserves a lot of kudos for that.
And he's also involved, y'all can look deeper because people are unearthing, he's also involved in some petty stuff in state. Gotta be concerned that'll come out, you know what I mean? Like I don't want any negative things coming out when Kamala has all this momentum, if that makes sense, y'all. So like that's why Andy and Pete to me feel so safe. They feel so safe. Like nothing could come out of that. So lastly, and certainly not least, y'all, is Governor Tim Walz from Minneapolis. I guess everybody would consider him a dark horse at this point. He's a little bit older, so he's older than Kamala at 60. She's 59, y'all, but still very young compared to the Republican motherfucker, by the way. So Timothy he's been the governor since 2009. He has done amazing things up in Minnesota. I'm in Wisconsin, so I can see it. And I'm over here begging and wishing that Wisconsin could be as cool as Minnesota one day. Just one day, we might be able to ungerrymander and unfuck ourselves here and actually have a growing and real democracy where the majority of people who vote get what the majority of people who vote should get, which is what they fucking want. Sorry, I had to say that. Tim Walz is actually having that. He's paying for kids' schools. He's doing all kinds of things. I don't know if y'all know this. He was a championship high school football coach. He's a teacher. Tim Walz is he's just really a really great guy. I think he doesn't have national coverage. That's what I'm kind of concerned about. But he's also really funny, as y'all see in this
These
clip.
guys are just weird. That's who they are. So it isn't much else. Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes. They're going to do all that. But don't lift these guys up like they're sometimes the heroes. Everybody in this room knows, I know it as a teacher, a bully has no self-confidence. A bully has no strength. They have nothing. The fascists depend on fear. The fascists depend on us going back. But we're not afraid of weird people. We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid. But look, and then as you heard this, and one day ago, a poll came out and showed Kamala Harris up 10 points and Donald Trump getting his ass handed to him here in Minnesota. So, sorry. But he's here today in the state of hockey to complete his trifecta. He lost in 16, he lost in 20, he loses in 24.
So, yeah, Amanda.
I like him. I think I would be very surprised if he was the choice. I also think, especially as much as I hate to say it, but in a race where Republicans started by making such a big deal out of age, I don't think that they will choose a VP who's a considerable amount older than Harris.
1 year.
He feels older.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean? Like the vibe.
Totally, you're right. Totally,
I
agree. Totally, yeah.
But you're right. It is only 1 year, but it feels older. I do like him though. I doubt they'll pick him, but I do like him.
Mm-hmm.
This seems to be a really safe state. That's my argument against Josh Shapiro, is that I think Kamala could win Pennsylvania without him. But I understand the people wanting to make sure that we do the best we can in Pennsylvania so that we can just completely knock out Trump there and not have to go to, out here to Wisconsin and out to fucking Arizona like we did, in 2024. Amanda, were you done with tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just need to make sure. Doug, what's going on?
This is the guy I think he should pick.
What?
Thank you.
Okay, why? What's going on?
2 reasons. He feels safe because we have had a plethora of old white men. And do I think this is the right pick? No, but this is who I think they'll pick. Amanda, I get that he seems like a dark horse, but his like sort of down homey, I'm going to explain this to you, like him just embracing calling them weird, which we all know has sent Republicans into a fucking weird tizzy. Like how, like they just don't like weird because it's not fearful. It's not something that makes it, you're not afraid of weird. Like it's not, maybe grandpa effect. I don't get grandpa from him because grandpa to me is like some fucking boomer who just fucking hates young people. And he doesn't do that. Like he's a former educator and he very much does look older. He looks, so that guy is 8 years older than me. Now, look, I'm not a young guy, but he looks like he could have been in the movie Cocoon with Wilford Brimley. And maybe that's not a great look. So I could see how you'd want to go younger. So like going Buttigieg or Shapiro. Shapiro is only 9 years younger than him, but Shapiro looks a lot younger. So it might just be an appearance thing. It might be that. I think Waltz is unafraid to go after anybody like Shapiro is. So that's just my thought. Sorry, Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Don't be sorry. So, Kelly's 62. I wanted to be noted. So, and he looks much older too. But that motherfucker was in space, so he can look much older. Yeah, look, Pete's 42. And Bashir is 46. So like again, I can see Pete and Bashir going at it in like 10 years. Wait, what is it? 8. So it'll be 12 years. Given that Kamala is, I hope goes at least 8, that'll be great. Even if it's 4, Pete and Bashir and Gavin and Gretch are all going to be like hanging out, and that's great for humanity and society in America because they're all, in my opinion, good people. But yeah, summing up here, yeah, Tim Walz, I think I wanted to bring this up real quick, y'all. So this is what I was telling Mike. This and looks unfortunately matter, and this is what doomed Joe Biden, y'all, because it wasn't about results. This guy's gotten more results than pretty much any president in any of our lifetimes, actually. Mm-hmm. If you look at the legislation that he passed, but he had that one bad debate and everybody just blew up and y'all did him dirty and that wasn't right. But like JG is saying here, looks like a matter. This is what I was telling my kids last week. I was like, politics, optics greater than results, period. Optics, Donald Trump, greater than results. What did this motherfucker do for us? Nothing. Like nothing. Like 2 things.
Unless you're wealthy.
Operation Warp Speed was, I think, in the first step back, those are the two things that Donald Trump that did that were positive for middle class people. The rest was just a whole bunch of corporate, racist, all kinds of bad phobia shit going on. So like that, those optics still, or the optics of him being a strong person, because they keep pushing that he's stronger than Joe and all that bullshit. The wins Doug on that side, as opposed to the optics of him not doing fucking anything for anybody and literally being the least qualified. Say what you want about Ron DeSantis. Yes, he's a shithead, but he is vastly more qualified to do this than fucking Donald Trump will ever be. And Donald Trump was fucking president. At least Ron DeSantis has been in the fucking House of Representatives. Again, I don't agree with him. I think he sucks. He's trash. He's horrible. But he's more qualified than Donald Trump. Like Nikki Haley, the fucking ambassador at the fucking UN, that's not more qualified than Trump. So I'm just on my whole optics are better than results in politics, unfortunately. So that's why Tim Walz will not be picked, in my opinion, because he looks old. How about that, Doug? And it's bullshit. Amanda, anything to follow up on what I said? And then Doug, your third?
No, I mean, I agree. Although I do think Doug makes a good point with the, like, he may offer a kind of comforting presence for people who are a little scared, like for those people that need someone to hold their hand and say, like, it's okay and we can, you know, it's okay that we're doing this kind of a thing. But I just don't know that it'll be enough. Because I think that for whatever reason, he just vibes much older than everyone else in a way that that is not fair to him. Like, I don't mean that this is right. I just think he vibes as way older than her in a way that might not help.
That's fair. That's fair.
But he might be the old grandpa that can, like, you know, weigh the young lady in.
You know? Maybe we need the old grandpa for people.
I don't know.
That's
It's just
awesome.
I just been seeing a lot of shit where people were talking about Waltz. They really like Waltz. So,
I like him too. Yeah,
but I think also, as we all see, our algorithms are all different, right? Like my algorithm shows a lot of people favoring Waltz. A lot of people's algorithms show them that favoring Shapiro, like or Buttigieg. Like Buttigieg, I think favorability wise, that's the guy. But like, is that the guy that's going to get it?
He's the perfect. He's the choice, in my opinion. Yeah. And I love Andy, Doug. I've been screaming about Andy for years. It's almost 5 years at this point, actually, that I've been screaming about Andy. So
yeah, can I make a point about Bashir real quick? You trusted him on you trusted him on the pandemic stuff. You know who everybody trusted too? Andrew Cuomo.
Sure.
And that was the governor of the state I live in, and then he turned out to be a giant shithead. So
right. Right.
I'm not saying that's Bashir. I'm just saying that is something that I don't know.
It's not though. But yeah. And I don't know. The Cuomos have a different and interesting lineage, and so do the Bashirs. But the Bashir's lineage is a lot cleaner. I'm just saying.
For sure.
Anyway, those Cuomos are oof. Doug, you want to get to your third, and then we'll start to wrap up here because we've held our guests.
I'm going to throw the turd in. I'm going to throw a turd in.
That's cool. Okay.
I'm going to throw a turd in the punch bowl, Greg, for you specifically.
Great.
Are you ready?
Wonderful.
Are you ready?
Actually, do I have? Okay. Why is it?
It's a pumpkin beer on fucking August 2nd. Why are pumpkin beers out on August 2nd? It's a pumpkin spice latte beer, no less.
Doug, I don't know.
It's fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Oh, it happened, and right here it is.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm sitting out here in this heat, and you've already got your pumpkin spice on. I love it.
Oh, that was the point. Like the day it came out was yesterday, and it was 90 degrees in upstate New York. And I'm like, why are you releasing this today? Like just
Okay, Doug. So, can you bitch about them releasing it and then buying it at the same time, or is that a conflict of interest?
All right. So you know, I did that just to annoy you, Greg. That was the whole point of me buying it. It was not me.
I'm intrigued, actually.
But is it delicious? Because if it's delicious, then.
Well, here's how it looks.
Okay.
Very dark. It's a porter. It's a pumpkin spice latte porter.
How am I going to bitch about a porter? Don't do that.
Oh, you might. Let's see. All right, so very roasty. Not much pumpkin. A little creamy for the latte part, but really it's just a porter.
Okay. So maybe that was the gig, was subtle pumpkin.
And
it just came out, so it can't be.
Yeah, well, Duclaws generally they make a lot. They make Sweet Baby Jesus, Sweet Baby Sweet Baby Java. They make a lot of these different kind of variants, and so it's just their porter where they add shit to it. So Sweet Baby Jesus is one of my favoritely named beers because I fucking love the name of that. But yeah, it's okay. It's not great. It's just me. I got it purely to be like, Greg, guess what I got in the middle of this fucking obnoxious heat that we're all experiencing.
All right, so we can do a little. If Amanda's cool, we can do a little messy stuff here. If everybody's
let's do it. Amanda, you good with that?
I'm cool with messy. What's messy?
All right. And maybe it's not that messy, but what is one thing you never feel guilty about spending money on, Amanda?
Well, my easy answer is my daughter. Basically, anytime she wants or needs something, I just throw money at it like I'm made of money.
So she's spoiled, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. I grew up really, really poor, like, food stamp poor, like JD Vance pretends to be poor. And and so I think sometimes I compensate maybe too much, but there it is.
Okay. Do you want to give another answer, or are you good?
I'm good.
You can answer twice. You can answer twice. Doug?
It's probably beer or scotch. Like, I never feel guilty about spending money on things that I will enjoy in rations. Like, if I have to buy something that I use in one time, I'm a little hesitant because, like Amanda, I grew up poor. I grew up not food stamps poor, but just basically barely ahead of that. Like, just literally just barely ahead of that. So, like, I don't buy clothes for myself unless it's beer shirts. Like, I don't, like, I wear my shoes until the fucking soles are, like, this is a very, like, I think Greg, I think you're in the same vein. It's like you get shit and you use that shit till it can't be used anymore, and then you go get something else. And I'm going to point to your car, Greg, because your car is like fucking 23 years old. You're just like, I'm driving that shit more. Keep driving it. Like,
I'm going to ride it till I can't no more, as Lil Nas X would say.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Lil Nas X was talking about something else, but that's okay.
Hey, man, whatever.
I'm trying to, the only other thing that I would say that I spend money on that I don't feel guilt for. There was one that I had in my head, and it was like when it sucks, but like my wife has kind of turned me into doing more concerts, but concerts I don't feel bad about, like spending money on, because that's an experience. I'd rather spend money on experiences and things. That makes sense. Like,
So concerts.
I don't need a new pair of shoes. I don't need new jeans. Like, I bought new jeans recently, and that's the first time I bought jeans in about 6 years. I have 2 pairs of jeans. The only reason I bought new pairs is because the other ones I got a little bit too chubby and they were too tight, so I couldn't wear them anymore. I don't buy. What's funny is I don't mind buying stuff for my family, and I mean, it's sort of in similarity with your kids. Like, if I buy stuff for Jill, like, I don't mind doing that. I don't like spending money on myself unless it's good scotch and funny beers. So, Greg, what about you?
It's literally food. It is.
Oh, that's a good call.
I don't care about the budget anymore. I really don't give a fuck, actually. I used to care a lot more. Now I just don't, for the most part. It doesn't mean I don't look for deals. Doesn't mean I don't, try to make it as cheap as possible. But at the same time, I don't care. If I feel we want it, or someone's like, yeah, let's have steak and lobster. Steak and lobster it is. Okay, let me figure it out. Like, whatever. Like, before it would be like steak and lobster. And my kids are, they're at the age where now they're appreciating food and eating more and all that. So it's not like I'm buying steak and lobster for me and the lady, and then the kids are, at that point they were eating nuggets anyway. So I don't care, because they're not going to eat the steak and lobster. It doesn't fucking matter. And I don't care. You're not going to guilt me into this, because y'all don't care. And y'all going to look at the steak and the lobster and be like, and if I give you the stupid chicken fingers, you're going to eat them. So anyway, dog, this is part of those fuck them kids category of my life, where I love my kids, but fuck them kids on some level. So now we're at that stage where they're eating everything. They understand that, you know what I mean? There's no, like, I don't have to worry about, them not eating the food that we put out on the table. So it's food. It's easy. Everything else is kind of it's
Quick question for Amanda. How is your daughter about eating food?
She's not a very picky eater. She like her favorite food in the world is sushi. She would eat it 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. She actually just tried lobster for the first time last week. She really likes seafood, especially, but she's a pretty good eater. Like, she's not a very picky kid.
That's good, because most kids are very picky. So I'm going to say that I think lobster is a super overrated food, because what makes lobster good is you have scads of butter you have to dip it in to make it tasty. But like,
she like, I'm not a big lobster fan, actually. Like, I'm much more of a, like, I was eating like oyster. Like, I'd much rather eat like oysters, crab, other seafoods. She enjoyed it though. She's more like a shrimp, crab, lobster kid, and I'm more like a just give me all the oysters.
All the oysters.
But yeah, put the two of us together and we'll hurt some seafood, is what I'm saying.
All right, y'all. So since it's the summer, I guess we could talk about this, right?
Absolutely.
Amanda, what's going on?
If I'm gonna eliminate one, I'm gonna kill a slushie.
Why?
Just because I like the other ones better. I love them all, but if I could eat 3 and not eat one, it's gonna be a slushie.
All right. We always like to bug people about their food choices here, so that's it. Doug, you're about to be bugged.
I'm probably with Amanda. Slushie is my least favorite. I am not a desserts person, so like, it's rare that I would eat. Now, the only caveat to that is if it's pie, I will eat damn near any pie except pecan pie. Pecan pie sucks. But all these are, if I'm going to pick one to eliminate, it's going to be slushie. So,
and see, for me, there's only one kind of pie I eat. I can't say that here. I don't like dessert much, but I do like ice cream.
You like the pie you have at home. It's good.
Exactly. That's it.
Amanda, this is why I love having you on, because it just fucking.
It's just one kind of pie. Was great. I didn't say anything. I just said there's only one kind of pie I eat.
And we all knew exactly what you meant. And it's all good.
It's key lime, dog. What are you talking about? Anyway.
Exactly. Obviously.
This one's easy for me. This is the last one I got for y'all. This is easy for me. This is not even a question, actually.
Oh, I'm killing Wheel of Fortune out of this lineup.
Craig?
Is that what you got, Amanda?
That's what I got.
Wheel of Fortune?
Mm-hmm.
Doug?
Jeopardy.
What?
Dude, I'm a trivia nerd. I fucking love trivia stuff, so Jeopardy is all up my alley. I might be terrible at it.
That's the one you kill. That's the one you get rid of. You would get rid of.
That's the one
you
get. No, it says on the thing what woman you want to be a contestant on.
Oh, you're right. Oh, never mind. Then I lied. Then I also.
If you want to get rid of one, it's a fucking Family Feud.
Oh, I misread. Then Jeopardy. Sorry.
Yeah, if it's one to get rid of, it's Family Feud.
Amanda gets to do over.
Sorry.
Hold on, Doug. Hold on. Amanda gets to do over. Amanda.
No, I'm also Jeopardy. I'm just.
Which one would you want to be a contestant on? Jeopardy?
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't understand, Joe. Explain yourself.
Trivia is fun.
Yeah, I like trivia.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
like
shit's hard though. Someone's gonna run you.
But then I feel smart if I get it.
Yeah.
True. All right, so mine is actually Wheel of Fortune because I feel that Wheel of Fortune takes the less brains and it gives the most payout. Like you got to get lucky on Wheel of Fortune. Though. Y'all already know the wheel and all that bullshit. But like these puzzles are so generally, they're making them difficult now. But that shit's easy. It's just easier to win money. I feel that The Price is Right is way too random. Which for fun, I would go on that one because that's the funnest one on here in my opinion. Is The Price is Right. I don't know how anybody could even argue that. Family Feud is with that dumb clown who's I refuse to be even in the same room with that jackass. Who is he?
Steve Harvey.
Fuck him. Yeah, fuck him. Right. So then that's but also though, at least Wheel of Fortune got rid of their shithead host. And they should have gave that to I'm still pissed that they should have gave that to Vanna though. Vanna wanted that job, they should have gave it to her. That's bullshit. Total fucking, in my opinion, misogyny. Fucking horseshit. And they gave it to fucking Ryan Seacrest. They could at least give it to somebody BIPOC. They gave it to Ryan Seacrest, who has, listen, I like Ryan Seacrest. He's cool. He's a hard worker. He's fine. But like he has 800,000 fucking jobs. Okay? And y'all just want to give him another one. And you couldn't give someone else a fucking chance? Like, so.
Let's give Amanda the chance. Come on.
Somebody, like, again, why wasn't Vanna the easy thing? And then Vanna was trying to quit. I don't know if y'all know. And then they were fucking underpaying her still. That's just Wheel of Fortune is a whole ass mess. And don't get me started on a whole ass mess that was Jeopardy after fucking Alex Trebek died. Still leaves a fucking bad taste in my mouth, Doug, about that dumb shit. So I'm annoyed. The only one on here that got it right is The Price is Right, that replaced Drew Carey with Bob Barker, who obviously that's an upgrade with all due respect to Bob Barker because he was a sexist motherfucker. Bob Barker was cool, but he was a sexist. There was a lot of bad things going on there. So, and I'm just tired of this. So this is why I like Tim Waltz and this is why I like Mark Kelly. I'm tired of this, these excuses that these old white men are giving that, well, we came up in a different time. So we were sexist and racist, but that's how everyone was. Well, Tim Waltz wasn't. Mark Kelly wasn't. There's plenty of people who weren't. So don't do that. And I think these MAGA people are going to do this in the end too. Like once Trump is out, they're going to have to find a way to justify why they fucking were on for this lunatic. And they'll just be like, well, that was a sign of the times. And you know what I mean? Like, Kamala Harris, the horseshit things they say about her, and the horseshit things they said about Joe, and the horseshit things they said about Hillary Clinton. And that all justifies their bullshit. So whatever. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm on a rant. Amanda, if you want to respond to any of that mess, or you just want to pass it, please do.
I was gonna
and we'll start to wrap things up. But
I have a funny Family Feud story. If you've ever seen, have you ever seen like the outtake clips where they like put together a bunch of clips of like people's funniest answers? Mm-hmm. There's one that's really famous that I don't know if you guys have seen, but it's like, it was one of those things of like, what's something that you wouldn't want to see when you walk into a room, and this guy with his thick Southern accent yells naked grandma really intensely. But I just wanted to say that the guy that yells naked grandma really intensely was my youth pastor growing up. And I just wanted to say that was Pastor Roderick. And
really?
That's what it's like growing up in Florida, you guys.
Hey, by the way, my father-in-law is married Roderick, so that is a little concerning.
Yep.
You're weird. Wow. Doug, you have something to say?
Yeah, I had a small rant, and then now it just completely escaped my brain. So
sorry.
This is the problem being a 52-year-old man. Like I walk into rooms and no idea what the fuck I walked into it for. It's great. It's awesome. It's just great.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about Trump and how people are going to revisit. They're going to revise history and try to like downplay that they fucking supported this horrible human being.
For sure they are. Like this is how history works. Like, it's funny, like, I was never a big history person, but as I get a little bit older, and I'm not going like, I'm going to delve into World War II. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not doing the old guy thing. But I've been trying to do something where I try to revisit a bit of history, where I'm listening to, I listened to the most recent season of Slow Burn, which is about Harvey Milk and the gay rights in California in the late 60s, where they were trying to ban teachers from teaching kids because they were gay. Like, I just started one where I'm listening to a podcast, the Rachel Maddow podcast Ultra, which is about ultra rights and how her first season was one thing, and this one is about Joe McCarthy and how it sounds fucking exactly like Trump and the fucking Republican Party, and just how they're just like, it is something to see how history, we always hear history repeats itself, and it does. And the sad thing is it repeats itself on the right all the time. They have, forgive me, they have no policies to lean on. Their policies are, we're scared of everybody that isn't white, straight, male Christian. Everybody else can get fucked. And I just am tired of it. So that's my small rant. Sorry. Amanda, please chime in, because it makes me very angry.
No, I feel you. Everything makes me angry these days.
Yeah. So, April, we're talking about April. I love your new profile picture. Looks dope.
Yeah.
Damn, lady. All right. Yeah, we're trying. April, we're talking about going into. We're talking about maybe doing a side gig, talking about politics and all that. So hopefully you'll see more of that coming out of us like that. And Oiler Freak thinks that Amanda should join us, Doug.
I mean, I'm always down to do a talk show.
Yeah, it's not going to be Sally Jesse Raphael or anything like that. Unfortunately,
I don't have the cute glasses for that. You know,
that's fair. That's fair.
I'd need some red glasses.
We could work that into the production.
Maybe I'll go on. Maybe we can get sponsored by Zenny and have like glasses and shit. That'd be fucking great.
You know the connections this one has. So I mean, we're not be able to, but like, you know, she does so much. We'll be like, look, this is the lady that does a lot of comics, y'all. You want her? She got fans, y'all. Come on now, put a little glasses. Anyway, let's see what else is going on here in the comments. We'll wrap this up here. What did Daniel say here?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's true.
Some of them do, for sure. Oh yeah, and dude, she's like, yup. Oh yeah, so we'll do a quick review, right, Doug? Well, we want to thank Amanda for joining us again. We have a lot of fun. It's always awesome catching up with you. And while we were doing that, I had a Trace beer. This is the only one I had tonight, y'all. 7.1% IPA. Doug had it too because Doug hooked us up with Adam. And Adam sent us beers, so that was awesome of him. And we get to hang out with him on Thursday at Barrel and Flow. Doug and I are looking forward to that. Everybody's going to Barrel and Flow. You'll see us there. Track us down.
Sure.
It'd be great. Hi, Orla Freak. We don't want to hear about your movements, though, buddy.
Yeah, just go, dude. We don't need to hear. You don't need to comment. That's fine.
Doug, can you do that, please?
Yeah. So, Amanda, what do you think of the can art on this bitch?
I actually think it's great. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Trippy.
I just think. Yeah, it's Trace is very, 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 very LGBTQ friendly. That is the neighborhood day, and is very heavily populated with folks who are queer, and they
very
lean right and very, very lean into it. Adam, who was on our show last week, head of marketing there. I actually interviewed him for my job, my day job. I was actually the head of the Global Pride Committee, and I got to interview him for that. So that was fun.
Is that a black job?
And everything's a black job, so yeah, whatever.
I'm just trying to figure out what that means. So I just had to ask. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
anyway,
so Adam's great. Trace is great. Really cool. I had two other beers. So I had Mango Ghostface, which was extremely sweet. Actually, had some chunks in it. There's some
Wow.
And hey Greg, look, it's August 2nd. Let's have a pumpkin beer. The best thing I have with the IPA was a Trace IPA. That was delicious. I'm not even an IPA person, so.
Amanda, what were you drinking tonight?
I was drinking Cabernet. I have finished my glass. It was delicious. It's my go-to though.
All right, what vineyard was that from?
Do you know, I don't have the bottle out here, so I'm not sure. I know it was in Paso Robles because that's generally the area that I get wine from, but I'm not sure which brand it was.
So are you sweet red or dry red or semi-dry?
I'm more dry than I'm not a big sweet gal in general, as we've discussed from my, lack of pie eating. I like
that is untrue apparently, but go ahead.
Like a little I like things that are a little drier generally.
Yeah, that was a peanut butter porter. That was not the chunky one. This was the chunky one. It was the Gosa that had mango chunks in it. So great name. A little too chunky. Sorry, Orler. Hope you feel better, man.
Yeah, up in Canada. Yeah, that COVID is still a thing,
Yeah, and I've been trying to get a vaccine, and the pharmacy near me is like, we're not doing that until the fall because we're getting a new variant, and we want to have a fall variant to inoculate you. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm leaving soon, so I need you to give me whatever the fuck you have. And they're like, yeah, but we haven't gotten any. So I had to find something soon. So
yeah, I'm knocking on wood because a bunch of people we know who were at San Diego Comic-Con got it. We're all fine still here, but a lot of our friends in the last couple days.
Doug, there's always ivermectin.
Oh, you want me to fucking take horse tranquilizers? I think I'll pass. Or I could just
saying it's an alternative.
I could either take some bleach, or I could have the sun reflected into my gullet if I just open my. Just let it reflect down there and just burn it out.
I mean, have you tried it?
Mm-hmm. No, I have not, and I don't think I will.
Doug, don't you go to MAGA for your medical advice?
I try not to.
All right. So Jeopardy. He knows at least. Well, Daniel, you're smart. You know smart people.
Okay.
Well, Daniel's a super smart guy, so that is not surprising. So.
Oh, look at this plot twist. That would be fun.
Guys, it's me. I'm the VP pick. I'll let you know now.
Dude, if she picks you, I am definitely voting for her. I was voting for Harris before. I'm going to vote as hard as fucking possible.
Can you imagine? Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Term limits, age limits, fucking do it all. And get rid of fucking stock trading.
Okay, Doug. So what's old? How old
65. If the retirement age is 65, make that the fucking age.
Amanda?
I know. I think if there was going to be one, I think 80. I think I'd go high. Because I like some life experience. I mean, if you're doing a job that much, I want you to have a decent body of experience. Like, I don't know that I want a 30-year-old to be, you know what I mean? I didn't say 30, 35 is the limit on the bottom, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind somebody in their 60s who's lived a little.
I don't mind 60s. I mind it when they're close to fucking 80. Because we've seen Biden was... I thought Biden wasn't his fault. The guy was fucking 80 years old. My parents are 76 and 77 and 80, or 77 and 77 and 70. Listen, they're retired. Like, enjoy your life. Like, it's not that they're bad at making decisions. They're just not at their prime. And I'm not saying people need to be at their prime. I'm just saying I agree with you, Amanda, on having life experience and having things that inform you to make smart decisions. But like my uncle, who is in his 70s, said that there should be no Gen X presidents at all because you don't have enough life experience. And I think that's a crock of shit.
I agree with you there. Especially, I mean, a lot of Gen X is solidly in their 50s. So.
Hi, that's me. I'm not saying I should be president because I am not fucking qualified for that nonsense. But I have a lot of life experience, and I'm 52, so I think people that are in their 50s have plenty of life experience. But that's just my thing. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Y'all over here talking about Joe's cognitive decline at 80, and I'm like over here at 51 being like, I don't even know how 51 person could do it. But anyway, let's just shit's wild, and I don't know. So Kamala's 69, and you go, lady. Or 59? 59. You go, lady. 59. My bad. 59. Doug, also JHG offers you if you, instead of the vaccine, you could do testicle tanning.
Wait, what about that thing where the people like do that and then they jack their legs up for the sun to
the sun in the butt? Yeah, that's supposed to help with something.
Yeah, it's supposed to help with rectal cancer is what my guess.
I think what it helps is you getting a sunburn in a place you don't want a sunburn is what it helps.
I don't want to. Hey, I'm going to cover all that because I don't want the sun touching parts that shouldn't be touched.
So 10 stays ahead.
Yeah, and he's Canadian, so I get it.
That's good and bad. I mean, I would probably like the distance because, we're wild. Anyway, JHG's looking at Sun is looking at astrophysicists, and my god, amazing. I would absolutely. If there's any way we could, the fish seems too big. I could be wrong. He's great though. He's great. I love him. That Doug, are you gonna do some Duran Duran karaoke when you're here?
Hey, I'll try.
Go to New York.
It depends on what song.
All right.
What's the Duran Duran song? Amanda, what's a Duran Duran song to do karaoke to?
To do karaoke? I don't know.
Hungry Like a Wolf.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah. Reflex. Easy.
The Reflex
there's
is
a
the
bunch.
Because it's weird.
Okay. That was one of my jams coming up, though. Oh my god, I love that song. That song was
all right. Before we, I'm going to make one super ridiculous question to Amanda. If you're going to karaoke, what is the song that's your go-to? I'm going to sing this shit, and I'm going to sing the shit out of it. What's your karaoke song?
What's Up by 4 Non Blondes.
Ooh, ambitious.
It's what I do every karaoke. I do.
Greg.
Well, Amanda, what's going on?
What's your karaoke song, Greg?
I don't do it, so do I not get to answer this one? It would be something like Insane in a Membrane or something stupid like that.
Love it.
I think I would do Just Another Day Without You by John Cicada because I can't sing for shit and it would just be ridiculous.
That's the thing. You gotta do something fun that people like. Because, nobody really wants you to get up and be good. They want you,
They want you to be terrible, for real.
They want you to have fun.
Okay, Doug, let me change my answer. Because my answer is probably A minor.
Here comes copyright.
I'm doing it now because we can't have it in the intro, or the outro. So I'll do my little not for us. But on that note, y'all, we'll wrap this little shindig. We want to thank Amanda Deibert again for gracing us with her presence and teaching us all about what's going on. Bringing the political knowledge, Doug, on a snap. So she knows that she had no warning that was all going to happen. So,
well, I did ask her, "Are you okay with talking political shit?" But I didn't specify anything. So it was like,
yeah, that was fun, and I was able to put all those clips together. So yeah, it was fun. But Amanda brought the knowledge, though, Doug. She was, this one like that. It wasn't even like here's a week's notice. She was like, no. I was like, shh. So good times, y'all. Good times. Doug and I will not be seen next week. We will be seen. We are having a feature presentation of our interview with Hannah Ferguson, Doug, from Dope Ciders. And we will be hopefully hanging out with her at the time that the restream will be playing. So it's an encore presentation. It was a quick hitter, y'all. It was about an hour, but she gave us an inside of the Dope brand. She gave us an insight of what it looks like inside. And we talked about all kinds of things, especially her struggle being a black woman, female, on the queer spectrum. So it was really, really good, Amanda. Really fun. You can check that out next week. That'll be on next week. And the week after, we will have a Barrel and Flow recap where we will have some of our favorite Barrel and Flow friends with us who we can't tell you because we actually don't even know. So there's that. But we're going to wrangle some people up next week for our show. But again, we want to thank Amanda. Amanda, you get the last word here before we hit end stream.
Well, I just thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
I didn't show that though. Amanda Deibert, is it at what is the Twitter handle? Because that's
it's
where
just at Amanda Deibert, just DEIMBERT.
Okay. Excellent. My bad for not having that graphic. Doug knows I like to have the graphics, but no Facebook, right? You're not on Facebook, right?
I have there's like a Amanda Deibert official Facebook page, but I don't do a whole lot on it.
Yeah.
Okay. You're subscribing to us? Yes, please like, share, subscribe, all that to all of Doug and I things. But mainly, at this point, it's for YouTube. It's Daddy Porter's YouTube page. That's the only page that it's exclusive. Brothers and Booze is the only channel on YouTube there. Doug streams to his Facebook page, and I do too, and also Twitch. Twitter would not allow us to stream unless we pay Elon, and we're not paying Elon at this point. So he's not in our budget. But if one of y'all want to sponsor it, we would love that. But as long as we don't have to pay Elon, we're good. So with that being said, I'm sorry y'all got robbed of an outro. You can thank Adobe Express for that. But we will see y'all in 2 weeks. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda.